Veronica Cole Thompson grabbed 15-month-old Isaiah by his tiny arm and yanked him off the floor like he was nothing more than a rag doll. The baby's shoulder made a sickening pop. His scream split the air, raw and desperate, the kind of cry that comes from genuine agony. 9-year-old Maya threw herself at her stepmother's legs, sobbing, begging, "Please stop. Please. You're hurting him." Veronica's heel connected with Maya's chest, sending the child crashing into the wall. "Shut up!" Veronica hissed. Her beautiful face twisted into something monstrous. "Both of you, just shut up." Isaiah's arm hung limp now. His cries weakened into gasping whimpers. And Maya crumpled against the marble floor, watched her baby brother's face turn gray with shock. The front door opened. Before we continue this incredible story, please subscribe to our channel and follow Maya's journey to the very end. Drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. We want to see how far this story travels. Now let's continue. Marcus Thompson heard it before he saw anything. That sound? Lord have mercy, that sound. A baby screaming like something inside him was breaking. Not hunger, not tired fussing. This was agony. Pure, raw agony. He'd come home 3 days early from Dubai. Surprise for the kids. Surprise for Veronica. He'd been picturing Maya's face lighting up, Isaiah reaching for him with those chubby little arms. Maybe dinner together, like a real family for once. But the moment he stepped through that door, everything he thought he knew exploded. What the hell is happening here? The words ripped out of him like a roar. He didn't recognize his own voice. Veronica's head snapped toward him. And Marcus saw something in her eyes. Just for 1 second. Something cold. Something that made his blood freeze. Then it vanished. Gone. Replaced by wide eyes and trembling lips and the face of a worried mother. "Marcus, thank God you're home, Odd." She was still holding Isaiah. His baby boy hung from her grip like a broken toy. His left arm twisted at an angle that made Marcus's stomach turn inside out. The baby's face was wet with tears, his cries fading into weak little gasps, the sound of a child running out of strength to scream. "It was a terrible accident," Veronica said. Her voice shook just right. Perfect amount of distress. "Isaiah pulled away from me at the top of the stairs. I grabbed his arm to stop him from falling. I think I hurt him trying to save him. Oh God, Marcus, I was so scared." Marcus didn't move. His eyes went to Maya first. His daughter was crumpled against the wall by the staircase, shaking, eyes wide and fixed on Veronica like she was staring at the devil himself. That look. That wasn't the look of a child who'd witnessed an accident. That was terror. Pure, bone-deep terror. "Maya." He moved toward her. Dropped to his knees beside her. His hands reached for her face, checking her, touching her. "Baby, what happened? Tell me what happened." Maya's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Her eyes darted between Marcus and Veronica. Back and forth. Back and forth. Like a trapped animal. Isaiah was crying and... She was supposed to be watching him. Veronica's voice cut through sharp as a blade. The trembling was already fading. Something harder underneath now. "I told her specifically to watch her brother while I was on the phone. But you know how Maya is, how distracted she gets. Isaiah got away from her and nearly fell down the stairs. This is what happens when children don't listen." Marcus looked at his wife, then at his daughter, then at his baby boy still dangling from Veronica's handarm, twisted wrong, whimpering like a wounded animal. "That's not true." Maya's voice came out barely a whisper, but those 3 words hit the room like thunder. "That's not what happened." "Maya." Veronica's tone went sharp, warning, threatening. "Don't make things worse with your lies. You're already in trouble for not watching your brother. Don't make up stories to avoid punishment." She was hurting him. The words burst out of Maya like a dam breaking. Her whole body shook as she spoke. She was dragging him across the floor. His arm made a popping sound. I tried to stop her. I tried to make her let go, but she kicked me. She kicked me into the wall and told us to shut up. Maya, Veronica's mask cracked. Ugly rage flashed across her face before she smoothed it away. That's enough. You're hysterical. You're confused. Marcus, you can see how upset she is. Children make things up when they're scared. Marcus stood slowly. His eyes never left Veronica's face. 20 years in business, building an empire from nothing. Reading people was how he survived. Knowing when someone was lying. Trusting his gut when everything else said different. Right now, his gut was screaming so loud he could barely think. Give me Isaiah. Marcus, I can hold him. He's calming down. He needs his mother. You're not his mother. Give me my son, now. Something flickered in Veronica's eyes. Dark, cold, dangerous. But she handed Isaiah over with a performance of gentle care. The moment Marcus took his baby, Isaiah's cries got louder. His small body pressed against his father's chest, desperate for safety. And Marcus felt it, the wrongness in Isaiah's shoulder, the way his arm hung loose and unnatural. This wasn't from catching a falling child. This was from yanking, pulling, violence. We're going to the hospital, right now. Marcus, really? Veronica let out a little laugh. Casual, dismissive, like he was being dramatic. Children are resilient. We can ice it. No need to make a big production out of nothing. His shoulder is dislocated, maybe broken. We are going to the emergency room, now. I think you're overreacting. You've been traveling. You're tired. You're not thinking clearly. Marcus looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time in 2 years, he saw past the beautiful face, past the designer clothes, past the charm that had swept him off his feet when he was drowning in grief after losing Rachel. He saw a stranger with dead eyes and a fake smile. Maya, come with me. Maya scrambled up so fast she nearly fell. She ran toward him, and Marcus saw it. The way she flinched passing Veronica, the way she angled her body away, like she was expecting to get hit. She should stay here. Veronica stepped between Marcus and the door. She's had quite a shock. I'll take care of her while you get Isaiah checked out. Maya comes with me. Marcus, be reasonable. I'm her mother. You're her stepmother, and she's coming with me. Silence. Veronica's face went still, the mask slipping, rage burning underneath. Fine. Ice in her voice now, pure ice. Take them both. But when you realize this is all a misunderstanding, when you realize your daughter has been manipulating you with her lies, I expect an apology. Marcus was already moving, Isaiah against his chest, free hand reaching back for Maya. His daughter's cold fingers locked around his like she'd never let go. Maya, get in the car, now. She ran, dove into the back seat of the Mercedes like it was a lifeboat. Marcus followed with Isaiah settling the baby into his car seat as gently as his shaking hands would allow. Marcus. Veronica followed them outside, heels clicking on the driveway. Voice shifted again. Wounded now, confused. The loving wife who couldn't understand why her husband was treating her this way. You're overreacting. You're making this into drama when it was just an accident. Please, let's handle this at home. There's no need to involve doctors and make this into some kind of official incident. Official incident. The words hit Marcus wrong. Calculated, like she was already planning her defense. I'll call you from the hospital. He started the engine, drove away before she could say another word. In the rearview mirror, he watched her standing in the driveway, face calm, composed. But her hands were clenched into fists at her sides. Marcus pressed the accelerator harder. The emergency room at Grady Memorial wasn't crowded. Marcus carried Isaiah straight to the front desk. The nurse took one look at the baby's arm and called for a doctor immediately. Within minutes, they were in an examination room. Maya sat in the corner, silent, small, arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to hold her own body together. And Marcus realized with a jolt of shame that he hadn't really looked at his daughter in weeks, maybe months. What had he been missing, Mr. Thompson? The doctor's voice pulled him back. Dr. Patricia Williams. Kind eyes, gentle hands. But right now those kind eyes held something that made Marcus's chest tighten. Your son has a dislocated shoulder. We need to put it back in place. It's going to be painful but necessary. Do what you need to do. Mr. Thompson. Dr. Williams glanced at Maya, then lowered her voice. The injury pattern concerns me. What do you mean? Dislocated shoulders in children this young are extremely rare, unless there's significant trauma. The mechanism your wife described, grabbing his arm to prevent a fall, doesn't typically cause this kind of damage. Marcus felt the floor shift beneath him. The force required to dislocate a toddler's shoulder is substantial, usually from violent pulling, yanking, not from a rescue attempt. What are you saying? Dr. Williams met his eyes directly. No hesitation. I'm required by law to report suspected child abuse. The words hit like physical blows, child abuse, because Veronica was his wife. She loved his children. She'd been so perfect when they met, so understanding about his grief, so patient with Maya's nightmares, so good with Isaiah's colic. There's been a misunderstanding, Marcus started. Mr. Thompson, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm following protocol. A social worker will interview you and your daughter. We'll document everything. CPS will determine if investigation is warranted. CPS. Child Protective Services. These procedures exist to protect children. Right now, that's my primary concern. Marcus nodded, felt like he was moving through water. Do what you need to do. The procedure to fix Isaiah's shoulder was brutal. Brief, but brutal. Marcus held his son while the doctor manipulated the joint back into place. Isaiah's screams echoed off the walls. Each cry was a knife through Marcus's heart. When it was over, Isaiah collapsed against his father's chest, exhausted, whimpering, trembling. Marcus pressed his face into his baby's hair, breathed in the smell of him. Baby shampoo. Something sweet. The smell of innocence. The smell of everything he was supposed to protect. Daddy! Maya's voice. So small. So fragile. Marcus looked up. His daughter stood beside him, pale, hands twisting together over and over. Is Isaiah going to be okay? He's fine, baby. They fixed his shoulder. He's just tired. Marcus reached out. Maya took his hand. Her fingers were ice cold. Maya, I need you to tell me the truth about what happened today. All of it. And I promise you, baby, you won't be in trouble no matter what you say. Tears filled Maya's eyes, spilled down her cheeks. Veronica said if I ever told you she'd send me away. She said she'd tell you I was bad like Mommy was sick. She said you'd put me in a hospital and never come get me. Those words. Lord Jesus, those words. Marcus's hand tightened around Maya's fingers. Baby Mommy wasn't bad. Mommy had cancer. She was sick but never bad. And nobody is ever going to send you away. You hear me, nobody. But Veronica said, I don't care what Veronica said. Marcus pulled Maya close, gathered both his children against him. Tell me what really happened today. Tell me everything. And Maya told him. The words came slow at first. Testing. Careful. Like she was checking to see if it was safe. Then faster. A flood that had been held back too long. Isaiah had been crying because he was hungry. Veronica hadn't fed him since breakfast, and it was almost dinner time. Maya tried to give him crackers from her pocket. Just a few crackers to quiet his crying. Veronica caught her. She said I was undermining her discipline. She said Isaiah needed to learn that crying doesn't get him what he wants. She grabbed him away from me. She was so angry, Daddy. Her face got all twisted and ugly. Veronica dragged Isaiah across the floor by his arm while he screamed. Maya begged her to stop, threw herself at Veronica's legs, trying to make her let go. She kicked me. Hard. Right here. Maya touched her chest. I hit the wall and couldn't breathe, and Isaiah's arm made that popping sound. He started crying different, like something was really wrong. Then your car was in the driveway. Everything changed. She heard the engine and her face just changed, like she put on a mask, and she started talking about accidents and stairs, and I knew she was going to make you believe her. She always makes everyone believe her. Maya's voice broke. Her small body shook with sobs. She's mean when you're gone, Daddy. She's so mean. I try to be good. I try so hard to keep Isaiah safe. But I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. She hurts him when he cries. She won't give us food sometimes. She locks me in my room for hours. And I'm so tired, Daddy. Her voice cracked into something broken. I'm so tired of being scared. Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He held his children and felt the weight of his failures crushing down on him. Every business trip, every late night at the office, every time he believed Veronica's lies about Maya being difficult, about Isaiah being fussy. Every moment he chose his empire over his family. I'm sorry. The words scraped out of him raw and broken. Maya, I'm so sorry. I should have seen. I should have known. I should have protected you. The social worker arrived an hour later. Patricia Green. Calm, professional, gentle way of asking terrible questions. She interviewed Marcus first, then Maya alone. When Patricia came out of Maya's interview, her face was grim. Mr. Thompson, your daughter has disclosed a pattern of abuse extending back at least 14 months. 14 months. Almost since the beginning. Almost since the day he brought Veronica home. She describes food deprivation, physical abuse, isolation, verbal abuse, threats against both her and her brother. Patricia sat down. Her eyes were soft, but her voice was firm. I'm recommending an emergency protective order removing your wife from the home while we investigate. What does that mean? Veronica cannot return to your residence, cannot contact the children. If she violates the order, she'll be arrested. Marcus nodded. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. I'll need to examine both children for additional injuries. We'll document everything. Whatever you need, whatever it takes. Patricia leaned forward. Mr. Thompson, I've done this job 15 years. Most parents genuinely don't know what's happening in their own homes. Abusers are skilled at hiding, at manipulating, at making everyone believe they're perfect. She paused. Please don't blame yourself. But Marcus blamed himself. Would blame himself forever. Because he brought Veronica into their home. Trusted her with his precious children. Been blind to the monster wearing his wife's face. The examination revealed horrors. Bruises in various stages of healing covered Maya's arms and legs. Finger-shaped marks on her upper arms from being grabbed too hard too many times. A fading handprint on her back. Isaiah had bruises too. On his chubby legs, on his ribs. Marks of rough handling. Casual cruelty. How did I miss this? Marcus's voice cracked as he watched the photographer document each injury, each piece of evidence of his failure. How did I not see? Children learn to hide, Patricia said quietly. They make excuses. They protect their abusers because they're told no one will believe them anyway. Your daughter carried this alone for a very long time. The police arrived. 2 detectives. Detective Angela Washington was lead. Black woman in her 50s, silver in her natural hair, eyes that had seen everything but still held compassion. Mr. Thompson, I need to ask about your wife's background. I'll tell you everything I know. How did you meet? Marcus told her. Charity gala 2.5 years ago. He'd been drowning in grief. Rachel gone 8 months, barely functioning, barely holding his company together, barely being a father. Then Veronica appeared. Beautiful, sophisticated, understanding. She listened to him talk about Rachel for hours. patient with Maya's nightmares. Seemed like exactly what they needed. She said she was a widow. First husband died in a car accident. No children of her own, but always wanted them. She seemed perfect. Did you run a background check? Marcus felt like a fool. No. She came from a good family, had references. I had no reason to doubt her. Detective Washington's face revealed nothing. We're going to investigate her thoroughly. And Mr. Thompson, do not contact her. Don't warn her we're coming. Don't give her opportunity to destroy evidence or leave. I understand. Good. Find somewhere safe to stay. Somewhere she doesn't know about. Marcus thought of Julia, his older sister. She'd been asking questions for months, expressing concerns he dismissed, told her she was being overprotective, told her Veronica was wonderful. He'd been so blind. They checked into a hotel that night, somewhere safe, somewhere Veronica couldn't find them. Maya fell asleep almost immediately, curled up in the big bed with Isaiah nestled against her, her small body finally relaxing now that she was away from that house, away from Veronica, away from fear. Marcus sat watching them breathe, his heart breaking and reforming with each breath they took. His phone buzzed constantly, messages from Veronica piling up. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? The children need to come home. You're being ridiculous, Marcus. I'm your wife. I deserve an explanation. He turned the phone off. Then he called Julia. Marcus, what's wrong? His sister's voice was sharp with worry. She'd always sensed trouble before anyone else. I need to tell you something, and I need you to not say I told you so. Silence. Then a sharp breath. What happened? Veronica dislocated Isaiah's shoulder today. She's been abusing both children, starving them, hitting them, threatening them, for at least a year, probably longer. Oh, Lord Jesus. Julia's voice cracked. Marcus, I tried to tell you. Maya was too thin, too quiet. She flinched when Veronica touched her. I tried to tell you something was wrong. I know. Marcus's voice broke. I know what you said. I was wrong. About everything. Where are you? Are the children safe? Hotel downtown. Police are investigating. CPS is involved. Lord have mercy. He could hear Julia moving around, getting dressed probably, ready to come to him. Those babies, those poor babies. Julia. Marcus looked at Maya's sleeping face, the shadows under her eyes, the way even in sleep she kept one hand on Isaiah, protecting him, always protecting him. Maya's been protecting her brother this whole time, taking the worst of Veronica's abuse to keep him safe. She's 9 years old, a baby herself, and she's been so brave, and I didn't see it. You see it now. Julia's voice went firm, steady, the voice of the big sister who'd been holding him together since they were kids. You see it now, and you're protecting them. That's what matters. Mama would be so ashamed of me. Mama would tell you the same thing I'm telling you. You can't change yesterday. You can only change tomorrow. Now get some rest. I'll be there first thing in the morning. After he hung up, Marcus opened his laptop, started searching, typing Veronica's maiden name into Google, digging for information he should have found 2 years ago. What he discovered made his blood run cold. Veronica Cole had been married twice before, not once like she claimed. Her first husband died in a car accident. True. But her second husband, the one she never mentioned, he died from a suspicious fall down the stairs. Investigation. Questions about bruises that didn't match the fall. Suspicions of poisoning that couldn't be proved. Death ruled accidental. Veronica inherited everything. Marcus kept digging. A sealed juvenile record. A restraining order from a former employer. A pattern of moving city to city. Reinventing herself, always landing on her feet with someone else's money. And then he found it. Her second husband had a son. Little boy from a previous marriage. A child in Veronica's care after his father died. A child who fell down the stairs 3 months later. Case closed. Insufficient evidence. Marcus pushed back from the table, hands shaking, whole body shaking. He'd married a killer, brought a murderer into his home, left his children alone with a woman who'd killed before and was planning to kill again. His phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Thompson, this is Detective Washington. We need to talk." "I was about to call you. I found something. About Veronica's past. We found it too. And more." Washington's voice was grim. "Your wife has been systematically stealing from you, forging your signature, transferring funds to offshore accounts. Approximately $4 million over 18 months. Marcus closed his eyes. "There's more, isn't there?" "Yes. We found a journal in her office. Detailed entries about her contempt for your children. About plans to arrange accidents for both of them once she secured enough of your assets." The room spun. His children. His babies. She was planning to murder them. "We also found evidence she's been drugging the children. Small doses of sedatives in their food. We found the medication. Found her dosage calculations. That's why Isaiah slept so much. Why Maya always seemed tired. Why they had dark circles and moved like sleepwalkers. Veronica was poisoning them. Slowly, carefully, making them easier to control. Where is she now?" "That's why I'm calling. Veronica was arrested 2 hours ago trying to board a flight to the Cayman Islands. Fake passport, $250,000 in cash." Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "She's in custody, charged with child abuse, attempted murder, fraud. She's lawyered up. Claims you're an abusive husband who turned the children against her." "Of course she does. But her lies won't work this time. Too much evidence." Washington paused. "Including Maya's diary." Marcus's heart stopped. "Maya's what?" "Your daughter kept a diary for 14 months, documented every incident of abuse, every threat, every time she was locked in her room or denied food. It's comprehensive, detailed. His 9-year-old daughter. His brave, beautiful daughter. Suffering in silence, documenting her own abuse, protecting her brother. She didn't just survive. She built the case that would destroy the monster." "There's one more thing," Washington said. "And this one's going to hurt. Tell me. Veronica has a partner, someone helping her move your money, someone with access to your business accounts." Ice spread through Marcus's veins. "Who?" "Your CFO, Dwayne Mitchell." The name hit like a bullet. Dwayne, 10 years with the company. Trusted advisor, friend. Marcus relied on him completely. They've been having an affair for 3 years. Met before you knew Veronica existed. Dwayne introduced you to her deliberately, planned from the beginning. Marcus couldn't breathe. "We found emails. They targeted you specifically. Wealthy widower with young children. Vulnerable, grieving. Perfect mark. Everything. Everyone. All lies. A carefully constructed trap, and he'd walked right into it. Walked his children right into it." "Mr. Thompson, still there?" "I'm here. Be careful. Dwayne hasn't been arrested yet. We're building the case, but he knows we're onto him. Desperate people do desperate things." Marcus hung up. He sat in the dark hotel room and let himself feel it. All of it. Rage, guilt, grief, horror. Let it wash over him in waves that threatened to drown him. His children had been living with a woman slowly poisoning them, planning their deaths, seeing them as obstacles to remove. And he'd left them there, alone, terrified, while he flew around the world making deals that meant nothing. A small sound made him look up. Maya stood in the doorway. Borrowed pajamas too big for her small frame, face uncertain in the dim light. "Daddy, are you crying?" Marcus wiped his eyes. "Come here, baby." Maya crossed the room and climbed into his lap. Something she hadn't done in months. She pressed her face against his chest, and Marcus wrapped his arms around her, feeling how small she was, how fragile, how easily Veronica could have broken her completely. "I'm scared," Maya whispered. "What if she comes back? What if she finds us?" "She won't. She's in jail. Police arrested her." "But what if they let her go? What if they believe her lies like everyone else?" "They won't. Not this time." Marcus pulled back to look at his daughter's face, made sure she could see the truth in his eyes. "Maya the detective told me about your diary." Maya went still, eyes wide. "Baby, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen. You documented everything. You saved yourself. You saved your brother. Because of you, Veronica is going to prison forever." "Really? Really? I promise." Maya was quiet. Then she said something that cut Marcus to his soul. "Mommy would have seen. Mommy would have known Veronica was bad. Mommy would have protected us." Not accusing, just true. Simple fact from a child who learned too young that not all parents see what's right in front of them. Marcus's voice came out broken. "You're right. Your mommy would have seen. I'm so sorry I didn't. I'm so sorry I wasn't the father you needed." "It's okay, Daddy." Maya's small hand touched his face. "You see now. You believe me now. That's what matters." They sat together in the darkness. Father and daughter. Survivor and protector. Two broken people beginning to heal. "Daddy." "Yes, baby." "Can we pray? Mommy always said when things are scary we should talk to Jesus." Marcus's throat tightened. Rachel. His sweet Rachel. Even gone, she was still teaching their children. "Yes, baby, let's pray." Maya closed her eyes, folded her small hands. "Dear Jesus, thank you for bringing Daddy home early. Thank you for making him believe me. Please keep Isaiah safe. Please keep all of us safe. And please," her voice wavered, "please tell Mommy we're okay. Tell her Daddy sees us now. Amen." "Amen," Marcus whispered. He held his daughter until she fell asleep. Then he carried her to bed, laid her beside Isaiah, and watched over them through the night. His phone buzzed one more time. A text from Julia. "Prayed for those babies all night. Church mothers are praying too. Whatever you need, we're here. That woman messed with the wrong family." Marcus smiled for the first time in hours. Veronica Cole thought she could destroy his family, thought she could hurt his children, thought she could get away with it. She thought wrong. Outside, the first light of dawn touched the sky. A new day coming. Julia arrived at the hotel at 7 in the morning. She walked through the door, took one look at Marcus's face, and pulled him into a hug so tight it hurt. "Those babies," she kept saying. "Those precious babies." Then she went to Maya and Isaiah, gathered them both into her arms, held them while they woke up confused and scared, and reminded them they were safe. They were loved. Auntie Julia was here. "We're going to my house," Julia said firmly. "Savannah. Away from all this mess. Those children need peace and quiet and home cooking." "Julia." "Don't argue with me, Marcus. You need family right now. Real family. Not that snake you married." Marcus didn't argue. He was too tired, too broken. And Julia was right. She was always right. They packed quickly, left the hotel, started the 3-hour drive to Savannah. Maya sat in the back seat with Isaiah, her hand resting on her brother's car seat, still protecting him, always protecting him. "Daddy." "Yes, baby." "Are we ever going back to that house?" Marcus looked at her in the rearview mirror, his brave, beautiful daughter who had survived hell and come out fighting. "No, baby. We're never going back there. We're going to find a new house, a happy house, a house with no bad memories. With a yard Isaiah likes grass. With a big yard, and a swing set, and maybe a dog." Maya's face lit up. First real smile he'd seen from her in longer than he could remember. "Really a dog?" Really, any kind you want. Can we name him Biscuit? We can name him whatever you want. Maya leaned back in her seat, still smiling, still holding Isaiah's hand, and Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Not healing yet. Not forgiveness for himself. But maybe the beginning of hope. They were 2 hours outside Atlanta when his phone rang. Detective Washington. Mr. Thompson, we have a situation. Marcus's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What kind of situation? Dwayne Mitchell has disappeared. Cleared out his house last night. We believe he's planning to leave the country. Maybe to help Veronica from abroad. Fear spiked through Marcus's body. You think he'd come after us? I think he's desperate and facing 20 years in federal prison. Desperate people make bad decisions. Is there somewhere safe you can go? We're heading to my sister's house in Savannah. Dwayne doesn't know her. I've never mentioned Julia at work. Good. Keep going. Don't stop for anything. I'm sending patrol units to follow you. Marcus hung up. His eyes went to the rearview mirror. To his children in the back seat. Maya had fallen asleep, her head resting against the window, her hand still touching Isaiah. He pressed the accelerator a little harder. 30 miles from Savannah, Marcus noticed a black Escalade that had been behind them for too long, maintaining distance but never falling back. His heart rate kicked up. Julia. His sister looked up from her phone, saw his face, understood immediately. What is it? Black Escalade. Been following us for 15 minutes. Julia turned to look. The Escalade was still there, same distance, same speed. Lord have mercy. Is that? I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid. But he wasn't paranoid. He knew it in his gut. The same gut that had screamed at him in the foyer. The same gut that had finally made him see the truth. Maya, baby. He kept his voice calm. I need you to get down on the floor with Isaiah. Right now. Maya's eyes snapped open, saw his face in the mirror. Didn't ask questions. Okay, Daddy. She unbuckled her seatbelt, carefully lifted Isaiah from his car seat, settled them both on the floor of the back seat, her body curled around her brother like a shield. Stay down. Don't get up until I tell you. Marcus dialed 911. This is Marcus Thompson. I'm on Highway 17 heading toward Savannah. I'm being followed. Black Escalade. My children are in the car. The Escalade accelerated, pulled alongside them, and Marcus saw Dwayne Mitchell behind the wheel, face twisted with rage, eyes wild with desperation. Then Dwayne swerved into them. Metal screamed against metal. The Mercedes jerked sideways. Marcus fought to keep control. Julia screamed. Maya cried out from the floor. Stay down! Marcus shouted. Dwayne rammed them again, trying to force them off the road, toward the trees, toward disaster. Marcus's defensive driving training kicked in. He accelerated, pulled ahead, but Dwayne matched his speed, rammed his bumper, trying to spin them out. Units are 2 minutes away, the 911 operator said. Stay on the highway. Don't stop. 2 minutes felt like forever. Dwayne hit them again. The Mercedes fishtailed. Marcus corrected. Barely. His hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. Julia was praying out loud, fast, desperate. Lord Jesus, protect these children. Lord Jesus, protect these children. Then sirens, blessed sirens. Police cars appeared from both directions, surrounded the Escalade, forced Dwayne to slow, to stop. Marcus kept driving. Didn't stop until he was sure, until the Escalade was just a dot in the mirror surrounded by flashing lights. Then he pulled over, got out on shaking legs, opened the back door. Maya looked up at him from the floor. Isaiah clutched against her chest, both children terrified but unharmed. Is it over, Daddy? Marcus gathered them into his arms, held them while police surrounded the scene, while Dwayne was dragged from his vehicle in handcuffs. It's over, baby. It's over. But even as he said it, he knew it wasn't true. Not yet. The trial was coming. The truth would come out. Every ugly detail of what Veronica had done, what Dwayne had helped her do, what Marcus had failed to see. But his children were alive. His children were safe. His children were in his arms, and he would never ever let them go again. They made it to Julia's house an hour later. The old Victorian with the wraparound porch. The house where Marcus and Julia had grown up, where their mother had raised them after their father left, where love had always been stronger than fear. Julia's church mothers were already there. Miss Ernestine from the choir, Miss Dorothy who taught Sunday school, Miss Gladys who had known their mother for 40 years. They descended on the children with hugs and food and prayers and the kind of overwhelming love that only church grandmothers can give. Lord have mercy, look at these precious babies. Come here, sugar, let Miss Ernestine feed you. You're safe now, children, safe in the Lord's hands. Maya and Isaiah were swept into the kitchen, fed, comforted, surrounded by women who had raised generations of children and knew exactly how to make scared little ones feel loved. Marcus stood on the porch, watching through the window. Julia came to stand beside him. She really was going to kill them, he said quietly. She had it all planned out. Make it look like accidents. Take the money and disappear. Evil walks among us sometimes, Julia said, wearing pretty faces and saying pretty words, but evil always shows itself eventually, and God always protects the innocent. I should have seen it. I should have protected them. Marcus. Julia put her hand on his arm, made him look at her. You can torture yourself with should have for the rest of your life, or you can focus on what you're going to do now. Those children need their father, present, attentive, fighting for them. Can you be that? Marcus looked through the window, watched Miss Ernestine wiping syrup off Isaiah's chin, watched Maya actually laughing at something Miss Dorothy said. Yes, he said, I can be that. Good. Julia squeezed his arm. Because that's all that matters now. Not yesterday, not the mistakes. Just tomorrow. Just being the father those babies deserve. Inside, Maya looked up and saw her father watching. She smiled, waved. The kind of genuine happy smile Marcus hadn't seen from her in over a year. He waved back. The road ahead would be hard. The trial, the testimony, the therapy. The slow, painful work of rebuilding trust and healing wounds that ran deep. But they would walk it together. Father and daughter, brother and sister, family, real family. And Veronica Cole would spend the rest of her life in a prison cell, knowing that the children she'd tried to destroy were out there somewhere. Safe, loved, alive, winning. 3 days passed at Julia's house in Savannah. 3 days of church mothers coming and going with casseroles and prayers. 3 days of Maya slowly remembering how to smile. 3 days of Isaiah laughing again, his arm healing in its tiny sling. But Marcus couldn't rest. Couldn't stop his mind from racing through every moment of the past 2 years. Every sign he'd missed. Every lie he'd believed. On the 4th morning, Detective Washington called. Mr. Thompson, we need you to come to Atlanta. There are things you need to see. Things we found in Veronica's private office that you should know about before the trial. What kind of things? The kind I can't discuss over the phone. How soon can you be here? Marcus looked at Maya and Isaiah playing in Julia's backyard. The church mothers were watching them. Miss Ernestine was teaching Maya how to make sweet tea. Isaiah was chasing Julia's old cat around the garden. I'll be there this afternoon. Julia drove him, left the children with Miss Dorothy and Miss Gladys, who promised to guard them with their lives and their rolling pins if necessary. The drive to Atlanta took 3 hours. Marcus spent most of it staring out the window, replaying conversations with Veronica in his head, looking for the cracks in her mask that he should have seen. Stop torturing yourself, Julia said quietly. I can hear you thinking from over here. I keep trying to figure out when it started, when she stopped pretending to love them, or if she ever pretended at all. Some people are just born wrong, Marcus. Mama used to say that. Some people come into this world with a hole where their heart should be, and they spend their whole lives trying to fill it with other people's pain. I brought that into my house, into my children's lives. And now you're getting it out. That's what matters. They arrived at the Atlanta Police Department just after 2 o'clock. Detective Washington met them in the lobby. Her face was grim. "Thank you for coming. This way." She led them through a maze of hallways to a conference room. Evidence boxes lined one wall. Photographs covered a large table. Documents, journals, things that had been hidden in Veronica's private office. "Before I show you this," Washington said, "I need you to understand something. What you're about to see is going to be difficult. Maybe the hardest thing you've ever faced. But you need to know the full truth if we're going to put this woman away forever." Marcus nodded. His hands were steady, but his heart was racing. Washington opened the first box and pulled out a leather journal. Dark red, expensive, the kind Veronica always favored. "This is what we found hidden in a false bottom of her desk drawer. She's been keeping it for almost 3 years, since before she met you." Marcus took the journal, opened it to the first page. The handwriting was elegant, precise, Veronica's handwriting, but the words were something from a nightmare. Target identified Marcus Thompson, tech entrepreneur. Net worth approximately $180 million. Recently widowed. 2 young children. Vulnerable. Desperate for help. Perfect. Marcus's hands began to shake. "Keep reading," Washington said quietly. He turned the pages. Entry after entry detailing Veronica's strategy. How she'd researched him. Studied his late wife Rachel. Learned everything about his family, his business, his weaknesses. How she'd positioned herself at that charity gala. Worn the same perfume Rachel used to wear. Mentioned books Rachel had loved. Created the perfect illusion of a soulmate. He got teary when I mentioned his wife. So easy to manipulate. Men like this think with their grief. Give them comfort and they'll give you everything. "My God," Julia whispered. Marcus couldn't speak. He kept reading. "The children are obstacles. The girl is suspicious. Watches me with those eyes. Smart for her age. Dangerous. Need to isolate her, break her down, make her afraid to speak. The baby is easier. Too young to remember, too young to tell anyone. But babies are fragile. Accidents happen. One less obstacle to deal with eventually." Marcus dropped the journal like it had burned him. "She planned it from the beginning, all of it. She was going to kill my children." "There's more." Washington pulled out a folder. "Financial records. She's been siphoning money since 6 months after your wedding. Small amounts at first, then larger. She set up offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Singapore. Your CFO, Dwayne Mitchell, helped her every step of the way." "How much?" "Total just over $4 million, but that's not what concerns me most." Washington laid out photographs on the table. Documents, bank statements, insurance policies. 6 months ago, Veronica took out life insurance policies on both your children, $2 million each, with herself as the sole beneficiary. The room spun. Marcus grabbed the edge of the table to steady himself. "She was going to collect insurance money for murdering my babies?" "That's what we believe, yes. The policies were backdated to look like they'd been in place for years. Your CFO helped falsify the paperwork." Julia put her hand on Marcus's arm. He was shaking, his whole body trembling with rage and horror and guilt. "There's something else." Washington's voice was careful now, gentle. "Something about Veronica's past that we've confirmed. Her second husband, the one who fell down the stairs. Yes, we've reopened that investigation. And we found new evidence." Washington pulled out another file. Veronica had taken out a life insurance policy on him too. Same pattern, same structure. He died 8 months after the policy was issued. And his son, the little boy. We're looking into that as well. The original investigation was insufficient. The detective in charge has since been dismissed for corruption. We believe Veronica may have paid him off. Marcus sank into a chair. His legs wouldn't hold him anymore. "How many people has she killed?" "We don't know yet, but we're looking into her first husband's death too." The car accident may not have been accidental. Julia pulled a chair next to Marcus and sat down, took his hand, held it tight. Marcus, listen to me. This woman is a monster, a real, actual monster. But she's locked up now. She can't hurt anyone anymore. And those babies of yours are safe because you finally saw the truth. I should have seen it sooner. Rachel would have seen it. Rachel would never have let her near our children. Rachel's not here. You are. And you saved them. That's what matters. Washington gave them a moment. Then she spoke again. Mr. Thompson, I need to show you one more thing. It's going to be hard, but it's important for the trial. She pulled out a USB drive, plugged it into a laptop on the table. We found surveillance footage on Veronica's personal computer. She had cameras hidden throughout your house. She was recording everything. We think she planned to use it as leverage somehow, maybe to frame you as an abusive father if things went wrong. The screen flickered to life, and Marcus saw his own kitchen, his own living room, his own children's bedrooms. We've reviewed hundreds of hours of footage. Most of it is mundane, but there are incidents. Times when Veronica hurt the children, times when she threatened them. It's all documented. Washington clicked play on a video file. Maya appeared on screen. She was in her bedroom. Veronica was standing over her face, twisted with rage. You think your daddy loves you? You think anyone loves you? Your mother died because she didn't want to be around you anymore. She chose to leave you. And now your daddy is going to choose me. And when he does, you and that crying baby are going to disappear. On screen, Maya was crying, trying to make herself small, trying to disappear into the corner. If you ever tell anyone what happens in this house, I will kill your brother. I will make it look like an accident. And everyone will believe me because I'm beautiful and you're just a difficult little girl that nobody wants. Marcus couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but watch his daughter being terrorized. Turn it off, Julia said sharply. Turn it off right now. Washington stopped the video. The screen went dark. Marcus sat in silence, tears streaming down his face. 2 years. His daughter had endured 2 years of this, and he'd been oblivious, traveling the world, building his empire, while his child was being destroyed in her own bedroom. I want her to pay, he said finally. His voice was quiet, deadly. I want her to spend the rest of her life in a cage. I want her to suffer the way she made my children suffer. That's what we're working toward, Washington said. With the evidence we have, she's looking at multiple life sentences. No possibility of parole. And Dwayne, he's cooperating, trying to cut a deal. He's given us everything: bank accounts, passwords, recorded conversations with Veronica. He's terrified of going to prison. Good. Let him be terrified. They spent 3 more hours at the police station, going through evidence, reviewing documents, building the case that would destroy Veronica Cole forever. By the time they left, Marcus felt hollowed out, empty, like someone had scooped out everything inside him and left nothing but rage and grief. Julia drove them back to Savannah in silence. There was nothing to say, no words that could make any of this better. They arrived at Julia's house just as the sun was setting. Miss Dorothy met them at the door, her face worried. Something happened while you were gone. Marcus's heart stopped. The children? They're fine, safe inside with Miss Gladys. But Maya had a nightmare, a bad one. She woke up screaming for you. Took us an hour to calm her down. Marcus pushed past her into the house. Found Maya curled up on the couch, Isaiah asleep beside her, Miss Gladys keeping watch from a nearby chair. Daddy! Maya launched herself at him the moment she saw him, wrapped her arms around his neck, and held on like she'd never let go. You came back. I dreamed you didn't come back. I dreamed Veronica got out of jail and hurt you, and you never came back. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. I'm never leaving you again. Promise. I promise. On everything I am, I will never leave you. He held her until she stopped shaking, until her breathing slowed, until the fear drained out of her small body, and she melted against him exhausted. "Daddy." "Yes, baby." "Did you find out more bad things about Veronica?" Marcus hesitated. How much should he tell her? How much could a 9-year-old understand? "Yes," he said finally. "I found out more bad things. She was a very bad person who hurt a lot of people. But she's going to prison now, forever. She can never hurt anyone again." She said she was going to kill Isaiah. Make it look like an accident. I heard her on the phone one time talking to someone. She didn't know I was listening. Marcus's blood ran cold. "What did you hear, baby?" "She said the baby would be easy, said babies fall all the time, said no one would question it. And then she said something about insurance money and starting over somewhere warm." "Did you write this in your diary?" Maya nodded. "I wrote everything in my diary. Every bad thing she said, every bad thing she did. I knew someday someone would need to know the truth." Marcus pulled back to look at his daughter's face. This brave, brilliant child who had survived 2 years of hell and had the presence of mind to document everything. "Maya, your diary is going to help put Veronica in prison. The police are using it as evidence. You did something incredibly brave and smart. Mommy told me once that the truth always wins. Even when bad people lie. Even when nobody believes you at first. The truth always wins in the end." Your mommy was right. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she looked up at him with those serious eyes that had seen too much. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" "Anything, baby." "Why didn't you see I tried to tell you? I tried so many times. But you always believed her instead of me." The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. The hardest question. The one he'd been asking himself every moment since that day in the foyer. "I don't know, baby." His voice cracked. "I was sad about your mommy. I was working too much. I wanted to believe Veronica was good because believing that was easier than seeing the truth. I failed you. I failed you and Isaiah both, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to make that right." Maya studied his face, searching for something, finding it. "Okay," she said simply. "Okay. Okay. I forgive you, Daddy." The words broke something inside Marcus. Tears spilled down his cheeks. His 9-year-old daughter, who had every right to hate him, who had every reason to never trust him again, was offering him forgiveness. "I don't deserve that, baby." Mommy said forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about choosing not to carry the hurt anymore. "I don't want to carry it, Daddy. It's too heavy." Marcus held his daughter and cried, really cried, let out all the grief and guilt and shame he'd been holding since that terrible day. And somehow, in Maya's small arms, he found the beginning of peace. 2 weeks passed. The preliminary hearing was scheduled. Marcus hired the best criminal defense attorney in Georgia, a woman named Regina Chen, who had a reputation for being ruthless in court. She came to Julia's house to prepare them for what was coming. "The prosecution has an airtight case," Regina explained. "But Veronica's lawyer is going to fight hard. They're going to attack Maya's credibility. Try to suggest she made things up for attention. Try to paint you as a neglectful father who's covering his own guilt by blaming your wife. That's ridiculous. Of course it is. But that's how defense attorneys work. They can't dispute the evidence, so they'll attack the witnesses. Maya shouldn't have to testify. She's been through enough." "I agree. And with the video evidence and the diary and Dwayne's testimony, we may not need her on the stand. But you need to be prepared for anything." The hearing was set for Monday morning. The weekend stretched out tense and anxious. On Sunday afternoon, Marcus took Maya for a walk around Julia's neighborhood. Just the two of them. Isaiah stayed with the church mothers who had essentially adopted him as their communal grandchild. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" "Always." "What's going to happen to Veronica in prison?" Marcus considered how to answer. How much truth was appropriate for a 9-year-old? She's going to be locked up for a very long time. She'll have to stay in a cell. She won't be able to hurt anyone anymore. Will she be sad? I don't know, baby. I don't think Veronica feels things the way normal people do. Maya was quiet for a while. They walked past old oak trees draped with Spanish moss, past houses where families sat on porches enjoying the evening. I feel sorry for her sometimes, Maya said finally. Marcus stopped walking. You feel sorry for her? After everything she did to you? Not sorry, like I forgive her. Sorry like, what's wrong with her that she can't love anyone, that she has to hurt people to feel better? That must be lonely. Marcus looked at his daughter. This extraordinary child with a heart big enough to find compassion for her abuser. You're a better person than I am, Maya. No, I'm not. I just think about it different. Miss Ernestine says hurt people hurt people. That Veronica probably got hurt somewhere along the way, and that's why she's broken inside. It doesn't make what she did okay, but it makes it make sense. When did you get so wise? Maya smiled, a real smile. I had a lot of time to think when I was locked in my room. They walked back to Julia's house in comfortable silence, and Marcus realized something had shifted. Maya wasn't just surviving anymore. She was processing, healing, finding her way back to being a child again. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat on Julia's porch watching the stars, thinking about Rachel, wondering what she would say if she could see how badly he'd failed their children. She'd tell you to stop moping and start fighting. Julia appeared beside him, 2 cups of coffee in her hands. She handed him one and sat down in the rocking chair next to his. How do you know what Rachel would say? Because I knew her longer than you did. Remember, she was my college roommate before she was your wife. That woman had no patience for self-pity. If she were here right now, she'd smack you upside the head and tell you to focus on what's ahead, not what's behind. Marcus smiled despite himself. She probably would. She definitely would. Rachel loved you, Marcus. And she loved those babies more than life itself. That's why she told you to find someone new after she was gone. She wanted Maya and Isaiah to have a mother figure. She couldn't have known you'd find a monster instead. I should have been more careful. Yes, you should have. And now you know better. So be better. Julia sipped her coffee. Those children are going to be fine. You know why? Why? Because they have you. Flawed, broken, made terrible mistakes you. But you're here now. You're fighting for them now, and that's what they're going to remember. Not the years of darkness. The years of light that come after. Marcus looked at his sister, his rock, the person who'd held him together since they were kids. Thank you, Julia. Thank me by getting some sleep. You've got a big day tomorrow. Veronica's going to see you across that courtroom. She's going to see you strong and unbroken. And that's going to hurt her worse than any prison sentence. Marcus finished his coffee and went inside. Checked on Maya and Isaiah, both sleeping peacefully in the guest room. Stood in the doorway watching them breathe. Tomorrow, justice would begin. Tomorrow, he would face the monster who'd tried to destroy his family, and he would not look away. Monday morning came too fast and too slow at the same time. Marcus was awake before dawn, dressed in his best suit. The one Rachel had picked out for him years ago. The one he'd worn to her funeral. It felt right somehow. Like she was there with him, giving him strength for what was coming. Julia drove him to Atlanta. They left Maya and Isaiah with the church mothers, surrounded by prayers and promises that everything would be okay. Daddy? Maya had grabbed his hand before he left. Her eyes were serious, old beyond her years. Make her pay for what she did to us. I will, baby. I promise. The courthouse was chaos. News vans everywhere. Reporters shouting questions. Cameras flashing. The story had leaked somehow. Wealthy tech entrepreneur's wife accused of child abuse and attempted murder. The media was having a feeding frenzy. Regina Chen met them at a side entrance, guided them through back hallways to avoid the press. She's already inside, Regina said. Orange jumpsuit. Handcuffs. She looks terrible. Prison hasn't been kind to her. Good. Marcus, I need you to stay calm in there. No matter what she says. No matter what her lawyer claims. You cannot react. You cannot give them anything to use against you. I understand. Do you? Because Veronica is going to try to provoke you. She's going to lie. She's going to play the victim. She's going to say things that will make you want to leap across that courtroom and strangle her, and you cannot do it. Marcus took a breath, steadied himself. I understand. They entered the courtroom at exactly 9 o'clock. Veronica was already seated at the defense table. Regina was right. Prison had changed her. Her hair was limp. Her skin was pale. Her face was gaunt. But her eyes, those eyes were the same. Cold. Calculating. Dead. The moment Marcus walked in, those eyes locked onto him. And Veronica smiled. That beautiful, terrible smile that had fooled him for 2 years. Marcus didn't look away, held her gaze, let her see that he wasn't afraid anymore. The smile flickered. Just for a second. Then it was back. But Marcus had seen it. The crack in her armor. The fear underneath. Good. Judge Harriet Morrison entered. Everyone rose. The preliminary hearing began. The prosecution went first. District Attorney Michael Torres laid out the case with surgical precision. Child abuse, assault, fraud, embezzlement, insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder. He presented the evidence. Maya's diary, the surveillance videos, the journal from Veronica's office, the financial records, Dwayne Mitchell's testimony, the insurance policies on the children. Each piece of evidence landed like a hammer blow. The gallery murmured. The reporters scribbled furiously. And Veronica sat perfectly still, her face a mask of wounded innocence. Then it was the defense's turn. Veronica's lawyer was a man named Harrison Webb. Expensive suit, silver tongue. The kind of lawyer who made a career out of defending the indefensible. Your Honor, my client is the victim of a coordinated attack by a bitter husband and his manipulative daughter. Marcus's hands clenched under the table. Regina put a warning hand on his arm. Mr. Thompson is a wealthy, powerful man who was caught in an extramarital affair. When my client discovered his infidelity and threatened divorce, he concocted this elaborate scheme to destroy her reputation and avoid losing half his fortune. That's a lie, Marcus breathed. Don't, Regina whispered. Not yet. Webb continued, his voice dripping with false sympathy. The so-called diary is a fabrication coached and created after the fact to support Mr. Thompson's story. The 9-year-old child has been manipulated by her father into making false accusations against the only mother figure she's ever known. Your Honor. Torres was on his feet. The defense is making baseless accusations without any evidence to support them. The evidence will show that Mr. Thompson is a neglectful father who left his children in the care of others while he pursued his business interests and his affairs. When my client tried to discipline the children appropriately, he twisted normal parenting into abuse. Normal parenting. Marcus couldn't stop himself. The words erupted before he could think. She dislocated my son's shoulder. She burned my daughter with cigarettes. She starved them. She drugged them. Mr. Thompson. Judge Morrison's voice was sharp. You will have your chance to speak. Until then, you will remain silent or you will be removed from this courtroom. Marcus forced himself to sit back. His heart was pounding. His hands were shaking with rage. Webb smiled. That smug, satisfied smile of a lawyer who'd just scored a point. Your Honor, we move to have all charges dismissed due to lack of credible evidence. Denied. Judge Morrison's voice was flat. The evidence presented is more than sufficient to proceed to trial. Bail is denied given the flight risk already demonstrated by the defendant's attempted escape to the Cayman Islands. Veronica's composure cracked. Just for a moment. This is ridiculous. I haven't done anything wrong. I loved those children. I was trying to help them. Mrs. Thompson, you will address the court through your attorney. No. Veronica stood up. Her lawyer grabbed her arm, trying to pull her back down, but she shook him off. I want to speak. I have a right to speak. Mrs. Thompson, sit down. Those children were difficult, disturbed. The girl especially. She was jealous of me from the beginning. She poisoned her father against me. She made up lies to get attention, and Marcus believed her because he felt guilty. Guilty for never being there. Guilty for letting his first wife die. Marcus was on his feet before he knew he was moving. Don't you dare talk about Rachel. She was weak, just like you. Just like those weak, pathetic children you created together. I tried to make something of them. I tried to discipline them, but they were too broken, too damaged, just like their mother. Enough! Judge Morrison slammed her gavel. Mrs. Thompson, you are in contempt of court. Officers, remove her. Two bailiffs moved toward Veronica. She pulled away from them, her eyes locked on Marcus. You think you've won? You think this is over? I have friends, Marcus. Powerful friends. People who owe me favors. This isn't over. This will never be over. I will destroy you. I will destroy those children. Even from prison, I will find a way to make you pay for what you've done to me. They dragged her out of the courtroom. Her screams echoed down the hallway. Threats, curses, promises of revenge. The gallery erupted in chaos. Reporters rushing for the doors. Cameras flashing despite the rules against them. Marcus stood frozen, her words ringing in his ears. I will find a way to make you pay. Regina grabbed his arm. We need to go, now, before the press gets to you. They rushed out through the back entrance. Julia was waiting with the car. Marcus collapsed into the back seat, his whole body shaking. What happened in there? Julia demanded. I heard screaming. Veronica lost it. Started threatening Marcus, threatening the children, even from prison. Julia's face went hard. She can threaten all she wants. Those babies are surrounded by church mothers and the Holy Spirit. Let her try something. But Marcus couldn't shake the cold feeling in his chest. Veronica's eyes when she made those threats. She meant every word. She wasn't just angry, she was planning something. She said she has friends, powerful friends. Regina's phone buzzed. She looked at it. Her face changed. We need to get back to Savannah, right now. What is it? What happened? Someone tried to break into Julia's house 20 minutes ago. The police are there now. The children are safe, but barely. Marcus's heart stopped. What do you mean, barely? I mean, one of the church mothers hit the intruder with a cast iron skillet, and he's currently unconscious in Julia's front yard. They drove back to Savannah at 90 miles an hour. Every minute felt like an hour. Marcus called Julia's house phone. No answer. Called Miss Dorothy's cell. Straight to voicemail. Called Miss Gladys. Same thing. Why isn't anyone answering? They're probably talking to police. Try to stay calm. Stay calm. His children had almost been kidnapped or murdered, and he was supposed to stay calm. They pulled up to Julia's house 2 hours later. Police cars everywhere. An ambulance. Yellow tape across the front yard. Marcus was out of the car before it stopped moving. Maya Isaiah. Daddy. Maya came running out of the house. Isaiah in Miss Ernestine's arms right behind her. Both children were safe, unharmed, but terrified. Marcus grabbed them both, held them so tight he might never let go. What happened? Are you okay? Did anyone hurt you? Miss Gladys is a hero, Daddy. Maya's voice was shaking but proud. The bad man broke through the back door. Miss Gladys told us to hide in the pantry. Then she grabbed her skillet and waited for him. When he came around the corner, she hit him so hard he went down like a bag of rocks. Marcus looked over at Miss Gladys. The 70-year-old church mother was sitting on the porch steps giving a statement to a police officer, still holding her cast-iron skillet. That man picked the wrong house, Miss Gladys said when she saw Marcus looking. I've been cooking with this skillet for 50 years. I know exactly how much damage it can do. A detective approached Marcus, young, serious. Mr. Thompson, I'm Detective James. The intruder is conscious now, and we've been questioning him. He's not talking, but we found some things on him that concern us. What things? A photograph of your children, addresses, phone numbers, and this. The detective held up a plastic evidence bag. Inside was a handwritten note. It says, V sends her regards. Finish what we started. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. Veronica. She sent him. That's what we believe. We're coordinating with Atlanta PD and the DA's office. Mrs. Thompson had access to a phone before her outburst in court this morning. We believe she made contact with someone on the outside and arranged this. She's in custody. How is she still doing this? Criminal organizations don't stop operating just because the boss is locked up. Mrs. Thompson apparently had contingency plans. Regina stepped forward. What kind of protection can you provide for this family? We're arranging for 24-hour surveillance. But honestly, the best protection would be to move the children somewhere secure until the trial is over, and we can identify all of Mrs. Thompson's associates. Move them somewhere secure. Run and hide while Veronica pulled strings from behind bars. No. Marcus was done running. I want to see her, he said. Everyone stopped, stared at him. Marcus, that's not a good idea, Regina said carefully. I don't care. She just tried to have my children kidnapped, maybe killed. I want to look her in the face and let her know that whatever she's planning, it's not going to work. Visiting her would be dangerous. She could use it against you in court. I don't care about court. Marcus's voice was steady now. The fear had transformed into something harder, colder. I care about ending this. Whatever she's planning, whatever connection she has, I'm going to destroy all of it. But first, I want her to see my face. I want her to know that she's already lost. Julia put her hand on his arm. Marcus, think about this. I have thought about it. For 2 weeks I've been reacting, running, hiding, waiting for her next move. I'm done waiting. It's time she understood who she's dealing with. He looked at his children. Maya was watching him with those serious eyes. Isaiah was clutching Miss Ernestine's dress thumb in his mouth. Daddy's going to go make sure the bad woman can never hurt us again. Okay? Maya nodded slowly. Okay, Daddy, but be careful. She's dangerous. I know, baby, but so am I. Marcus arrived at the Atlanta Detention Center at 7 o'clock that evening. Veronica was being held in maximum security pending trial. Visitors were normally prohibited, but Regina made some calls. A few donations to the right campaigns. A few favors called in. 20 minutes later, Marcus was sitting in a gray room with reinforced glass between him and an empty chair. A door opened on the other side. Guards brought Veronica in. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs, ankles shackled. She looked surprised to see him, then pleased. That cold, reptilian satisfaction spreading across her features. They sat her down, attached her chains to the table, left her alone with Marcus and the glass between them. Well, well. Her voice came through the speaker tinny and distorted. The great Marcus Thompson. Come to gloat. No, I came to tell you something. Oh, and what's that? Your man failed. The church mothers stopped him before he could get to my children. He's in custody now, talking to police. Something flickered in Veronica's eyes. Fear, quickly hidden. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. V sends her regards. Finish what we started. That was your note, your order, and it failed. Just like everything you've ever done is going to fail from now on. Big words from a man who couldn't even protect his children from the woman sleeping next to him. The words hit. Marcus let them. Absorbed the pain. Didn't let it show. You're right, I failed them. For 2 years I failed them. But I'm not failing them anymore. And you're never going to touch them again. You think prison can hold me? You think bars and guards and walls can stop what I've set in motion? Veronica leaned forward, chains rattling. I have been planning this for years, Marcus. Years. You were just one mark among many. One wealthy fool who couldn't see past a pretty face. And now, you're in an orange jumpsuit facing multiple life sentences, and all your plans are falling apart. How does it feel, Veronica? How does it feel to lose? Her composure cracked. Real anger now. Real fury. You haven't won anything. Even if I spend the rest of my life in here, those children will always be damaged. Your precious Maya will always be broken. She'll never trust anyone again. Never love anyone without fear. I made sure of that. I took her childhood, and I destroyed it piece by piece, and nothing you do will ever give it back. Marcus stood up. His chair scraped against the floor. You're wrong. Maya is stronger than you could ever imagine. She survived you. She documented everything. She protected her brother. And she's going to grow up knowing that she beat you. She's going to live a beautiful, full life while you rot in a cell. And every day for the rest of your miserable existence, you're going to know that a 9-year-old girl was smarter than you, braver than you, better than you in every possible way. Veronica's face contorted with rage. She lunged forward, chains snapping, taut hands clawing at the glass between them. I'll kill her. I swear to God I'll find a way. You can't protect them forever. I'll get out of here, and I'll finish what I started, and I'll make you watch while I... Guards burst through the door, dragged her back from the glass. She was still screaming as they hauled her away. This isn't over, Marcus. Do you hear me? This isn't over. But it was over. Marcus could see it in her eyes, the desperation, the knowledge that she'd lost control, that all her careful plans were crumbling around her. He turned and walked out. Didn't look back. Outside, Regina was waiting by her car. I heard the screaming from here. What did you say to her? The truth. That she lost. That my children won. That a 9-year-old girl was smarter than a grown woman with decades of practice at manipulation and murder. Regina shook her head slowly. You're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both. But I needed her to know. I needed to see her face when she realized that all her power, all her planning, all her evil couldn't destroy my children. And she's terrified. Under all that rage, she's terrified. She knows she's going to spend the rest of her life in prison. She knows all her connections are being exposed. She knows it's over. They drove back to Savannah in silence. But it was a different kind of silence now. Not fearful, not anxious. Peaceful. It was past midnight when Marcus finally walked through Julia's door. The children were asleep. The church mothers were keeping watch in shifts. Julia was waiting up for him. Well, it's done. She can't hurt us anymore. You sure about that? Yes. Marcus sat down heavily in Julia's kitchen. The same kitchen where their mother used to make biscuits on Sunday mornings, where he and Julia had plotted childhood adventures and nursed teenage heartbreaks. I saw it in her eyes. The fight's gone out of her. She might keep making threats, but she knows. She knows it's over. Julia poured him a cup of coffee. Set it in front of him. The DA called while you were gone. They found Veronica's handler, the man who connected her with the guy who tried to break in today. He's been arrested. Apparently there was a whole network. People who helped Veronica with her previous activities. Her murders, you mean? Yes, her murders. Julia sat down across from him. They're reopening 3 cases now. Her second husband, his son, and a business partner who died suspiciously 5 years ago. Marcus, this woman wasn't just a monster. She was a serial killer. And I married her, brought her into my home, let her near my children. And now she's locked up forever. Because of you. Because you finally saw the truth. Marcus stared into his coffee, the weight of everything pressing down on him. Maya forgave me. Did I tell you that? She said forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about choosing not to carry the hurt anymore. That child is wiser than all of us. She shouldn't have to be. She should be worried about homework and friends and normal kid things. Not forgiveness and survival and documenting abuse in a secret diary. No, she shouldn't. But she is who she is because of what she went through. And who she is extraordinary. Julia reached across the table and took his hand. Those children are going to be okay, Marcus. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. They're going to heal and grow and have beautiful lives. Because they have you. Because you finally showed up. Marcus squeezed his sister's hand. I love you, Julia. I love you too, little brother. Now go to bed. You look like death warmed over. He climbed the stairs to the guest room where Maya and Isaiah were sleeping. Stood in the doorway watching them breathe. Maya had her arm around Isaiah even in sleep. Still protecting him. Always protecting him. Marcus crossed the room quietly. Knelt beside the bed. Pressed a kiss to Maya's forehead. Then Isaiah's. I'm here now, he whispered. I'm not going anywhere. I promise you both. I'm never going anywhere again. Maya stirred. Her eyes opened. Focused on him. Daddy, go back to sleep, baby. Everything's okay. Did you see her? The bad woman? Yes, I saw her. Was she scared? Marcus thought about Veronica's face. The rage, the desperation, the terror underneath. Yes, baby. She was very scared. Maya smiled. A small, satisfied smile. Good. She closed her eyes again, snuggled closer to Isaiah. Within seconds, she was asleep. Marcus stayed there on his knees watching over his children until the sun began to rise over Savannah. A new day was dawning, and for the first time in 2 years, he wasn't afraid of what it would bring. 6 months. That's how long it took for justice to finally arrive. 6 months of depositions and evidence reviews. 6 months of Veronica's lawyers filing motion after motion trying to delay the inevitable. 6 months of Maya having nightmares and Isaiah waking up crying for reasons he couldn't explain. 6 months of healing that felt more like crawling through broken glass. But they made it. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. Marcus was in Julia's backyard, pushing Isaiah on the swing set they'd installed 3 months ago. Maya was doing homework on the porch surrounded by the church mothers who had become permanent fixtures in their lives. Regina's name flashed on his phone. It's over, she said without preamble. Veronica's lawyer just called. She's taking a plea deal. Marcus stopped pushing the swing. Isaiah squealed in protest. What kind of deal? Guilty to all charges. Life in prison with possibility of parole after 30 years. But Marcus, given her age and the nature of her crimes, she'll never see the outside of a cell again. Why now? Why after fighting so hard? The evidence against her kept growing. 3 more victims confirmed. Her network completely dismantled. Dwayne Mitchell's testimony was devastating, and the video footage of her threatening Maya. Regina paused. No jury in the world would have shown her mercy. Her lawyer finally convinced her that a trial would only make things worse. Marcus looked at his children. Isaiah giggling on the swing. Maya looking up from her homework, watching him with those knowing eyes. What about the trial? I wanted her to face what she did in open court. She will. The plea hearing is next Friday. She'll have to admit guilt in front of the judge, in front of the press, in front of everyone. And then she'll be sentenced. It's not a trial, but it's justice. Marcus let out a breath he'd been holding for 6 months. Okay, what do I need to do? Be there. Sit in that courtroom and watch her admit what she did. Let her see that she didn't break you. Let her see that your family survived. After he hung up, Marcus walked over to Maya. Sat down beside her on the porch steps. That was our lawyer, he said quietly. Veronica is pleading guilty. She's going to prison forever. Maya's pencil stopped moving. She didn't look up. Forever. Forever, baby. 30 years before she can even ask to get out. And she won't. They won't let her. Maya was silent for a long moment. Then she looked up at him with eyes that had seen too much, survived too much, carried too much. Do I have to see her again? No, baby. Never. You don't have to go to the hearing. You don't have to testify. You never have to look at her face again. But you're going? Yes. I need to. I need to watch her admit what she did. I need to see it end. Maya nodded slowly, understanding in a way no 10-year-old should have to understand. Will you tell her something for me? Anything. Tell her I'm not broken. Tell her she tried to break me but she couldn't. Tell her I'm going to grow up and be happy and have a beautiful life, and she's going to rot in prison knowing that she failed. Marcus pulled his daughter into a hug, held her tight. I'll tell her, baby. I promise. The week before the hearing passed in a blur of preparation. Regina coached Marcus on what to expect. The press would be there in full force. Veronica would give a statement. He would have the opportunity to give a victim impact statement if he chose. Do you want to speak? Regina asked. Yes, I have things I need to say. It's not required, and it can be emotionally difficult. Some people find it helps them heal. Others find it reopens wounds. I need to speak. Not for her. For my children. For every moment she stole from them. Someone needs to stand up in that courtroom and say out loud what she did and what it cost. Then we'll prepare your statement together. The night before the hearing, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat on Julia's porch watching the stars, thinking about Rachel. About the life they'd planned together. About how different everything had turned out. You should be resting. Julia appeared beside him with 2 glasses of sweet tea. Handed him one and sat down in the rocker next to his. Can't sleep. Mind won't stop. What's it saying? That I failed them. That I let this happen. That Rachel would never have let Veronica near our children. Marcus, we've been over this. I know. But tomorrow I have to stand up in that courtroom and talk about what happened. And every word I say is going to be a reminder of how badly I failed. Julia sipped her tea. Let the silence stretch. You know what Mama would say if she were here. What? She'd say that the measure of a man isn't in the mistakes he makes. It's in what he does after. She'd say that you can spend your whole life looking backward at what went wrong, or you can turn around and start building what comes next. I miss her. I know. I miss her too. Julia reached over and took his hand. Marcus, those babies love you. Maya forgave you a long time ago. Isaiah doesn't remember anything except that his daddy is his hero. You've already done the hard work. Tomorrow is just the formality, the ending of one chapter, so the next one can begin. What if I break down? What if I can't get through it? Then you break down. You're human. You're allowed to have feelings. And those feelings, they're proof that you care. Proof that you love your children more than anything in this world. Nobody in that courtroom is going to judge you for crying. Marcus squeezed his sister's hand. What would I do without you? Crash and burn, probably. Julia smiled. Now go to bed. Big day tomorrow. Friday morning arrived gray and overcast. Marcus put on his suit. The same one from the preliminary hearing. The one Rachel had chosen. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. 6 months had changed him, aged him. The gray at his temples had spread, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. But there was something else, too. Something harder, stronger. The look of a man who had walked through fire and come out the other side. Julia drove him to Atlanta. They didn't talk much. There wasn't much to say. The courthouse was surrounded by media, even worse than before, national outlets now. The story had captured the country's attention. Beautiful socialite revealed as serial killer, tech millionaire's children nearly murdered. It had all the elements of a true crime documentary. Regina met them at the side entrance again. Her face was serious but satisfied. She's already inside, looking rough. Prison hasn't improved her disposition. Good. Your victim impact statement is scheduled for after she enters her plea. Are you ready? Marcus touched his pocket where the folded papers sat. The words he'd written and rewritten a dozen times. Yes. Then let's end this. They entered the courtroom through the back. It was packed. Every seat filled. Reporters lined the walls. Cameras that had been granted special permission to broadcast the historic hearing. Veronica was already at the defense table. Orange jumpsuit, handcuffs. The shell of the beautiful woman Marcus had married. She looked up when he entered. Their eyes met. Marcus didn't look away. Held her gaze until she was the one who broke. Turned her face toward the table. Couldn't face him. Good. Judge Morrison entered. Everyone rose. The hearing began. Case number 2024, CR 4892. The State of Georgia versus Veronica Cole Thompson. We are here today for the entry of plea and sentencing. Judge Morrison looked at Veronica. Mrs. Thompson, please rise. Veronica stood, chains rattling, head bowed. You have agreed to plead guilty to the following charges. Count 1 child abuse in the first degree. Count 2 child abuse in the first degree. Count 3 assault with intent to cause bodily harm. Count 4 conspiracy to commit murder. Counts 5 through 8 wire fraud. Counts 9 through 12 insurance fraud. Count 13 attempted murder in the first degree. Count 14 attempted murder in the first degree. The charges seemed to go on forever. Each one a knife. Each one a reminder of what Marcus's children had survived. How do you plead to these charges? Veronica's lawyer nudged her. She cleared her throat. Guilty. The word hung in the air. Hollow. Empty. No remorse in her voice. No regret. Just the flat acknowledgement of a predator who had finally been caught. Mrs. Thompson, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are waiving your right to a trial by jury? Yes. Do you understand that you will be sentenced to life in prison with possibility of parole after 30 years? Yes. Is this plea given freely and voluntarily without any threats or promises? A pause. Something flickered in Veronica's eyes. Yes. Judge Morrison nodded. The court accepts the defendant's plea of guilty. Before sentencing, the court will hear from the victims. Mr. Thompson, you have prepared a statement. Marcus stood. His legs were steady. His hands were not. He walked to the podium, pulled the papers from his pocket, unfolded them. Then he set them aside. He didn't need the papers. He knew what he wanted to say, had known it for 6 months. Your Honor. I had a statement prepared. Words I wrote and rewrote trying to capture what this woman did to my family. But standing here now looking at her, I realize that no words can capture it. No statement can convey the magnitude of her crimes. He turned to face Veronica directly. 2 years ago, I was a grieving widower with 2 young children. My wife Rachel had died of cancer and I was drowning. I couldn't function, could barely be a father. I was desperate for help, desperate for hope. And then you appeared, beautiful, charming, understanding. You seemed like a miracle. His voice cracked. He steadied himself. But you weren't a miracle. You were a predator. You researched me, studied me, learned everything about my weaknesses and used them against me. You made me believe you loved my children, when in reality you were planning their deaths. Veronica's face remained blank, expressionless. My daughter Maya was 8 years old when you started abusing her. 8. She should have been worried about 3rd grade homework and playdates and what Halloween costume to wear. Instead, she was worried about survival, about protecting her baby brother from a monster living in their own home. You burned her with cigarettes. You locked her in her room for hours without food. You told her that her mother died because she didn't want to be around Maya anymore. You tried to break her spirit, destroy her sense of self, make her believe she was worthless. His voice rose. But you failed. You failed because Maya is stronger than you could ever imagine. She documented every abuse, every threat, every moment of cruelty. A 9-year-old girl outsmarted a grown woman who'd been manipulating people her entire life. Maya survived you. She beat you. And she's going to spend the rest of her life knowing that she won. My son Isaiah was a baby. 15 months old when you dislocated his shoulder. A baby. He couldn't defend himself. Couldn't even understand what was happening to him. You drugged him, starved him, planned to kill him and collect insurance money. What kind of monster does that to a child? What kind of person looks at a baby and sees nothing but an obstacle to be eliminated? Marcus stepped closer to the podium. His voice dropped. I used to wonder what I did wrong, how I missed the signs, how I could have been so blind. And I blamed myself, tortured myself with guilt. But standing here today, I finally understand something. You are not my fault. You are not my failure. You are a broken, empty creature who has spent your entire life destroying innocent people. Your first husband, your second husband, his son, my children. We were all just targets to you, marks, means to an end. But it's over now. You're going to spend the rest of your life in a cell. And my children, they're going to heal. They're going to grow up. They're going to have beautiful, full lives surrounded by people who actually love them. And every day for the rest of your miserable existence, you're going to know that you lost. That a grieving father and his brave children were stronger than everything you threw at them. Marcus paused, took a breath. I don't forgive you. I will never forgive you. But I release you. I release the hold you've had on my family. After today, you don't exist to us anymore. You're just a ghost, a bad memory that fades a little more with each passing year. My daughter asked me to tell you something. She wanted you to know that she's not broken, that she's going to be happy, that she's going to live the life you tried to steal from her, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's all I have to say. Marcus turned and walked back to his seat. Julia grabbed his hand, squeezed hard. In the silence that followed, Judge Morrison cleared her throat. Does the defendant wish to make a statement before sentencing? Veronica's lawyer leaned in, whispered something. Veronica shook her head. Then she stood. I'd like to speak, Your Honor. The courtroom tensed. Reporters leaned forward. Marcus's hands clenched. Go ahead, Mrs. Thompson. Veronica turned to face Marcus. Her eyes were flat, dead. You think you've won, Marcus. You think this is the end, but you're wrong. Those children are damaged goods. They will never be normal. They will never trust anyone again. Every relationship they have will be poisoned by what I did to them. Every happy moment will be shadowed by the memory of me. Mrs. Thompson, this is not the time for threats. I'm not threatening. I'm stating facts. Veronica's voice was calm, almost pleasant. I planted seeds in those children that will grow for the rest of their lives. Maya will never feel truly safe. Isaiah will have nightmares he can't explain. You can lock me away forever, but I'll always be there, in their heads, in their fears, in the darkness that wakes them up at 3 a.m. Marcus started to rise. Julia pulled him back down. That's my legacy, Marcus, not prison, not this courtroom. The scars I left on your children, the parts of them I destroyed that you'll never get back. That's enough, Judge Morrison's voice was sharp. Mrs. Thompson, you were given the opportunity to express remorse. Instead, you've chosen to further victimize your victims. The court has heard enough. I don't have remorse. Veronica smiled, that terrible, beautiful smile. I'm not sorry for anything I did. I'm only sorry I got caught. The gallery erupted. Shouts of anger, reporters talking into cameras. Judge Morrison slammed her gavel. Order, order in this court. The noise subsided, but the damage was done. Veronica had shown her true face to the world. No mask, no pretense, just the cold, empty monster underneath. Veronica Cole Thompson, you have been found guilty of multiple counts of child abuse, assault, fraud, and attempted murder. You have shown no remorse for your crimes. You have threatened your victims, even in this courtroom. Judge Morrison's voice was ice. It is the sentence of this court that you be confined to the Georgia Department of Corrections for the remainder of your natural life, with possibility of parole after 30 years. Given the nature of your crimes and your statements here today, I am also recommending to the parole board that any future requests for early release be denied. You are remanded to custody effective immediately. May God have mercy on your soul, because this court has none." The gavel fell. Guards moved forward to take Veronica away. She didn't resist, didn't scream or cry or fight, just walked calmly toward the door. At the threshold she stopped, turned back to look at Marcus one last time. "See you in 30 years. Then she was gone. The courtroom exploded into chaos. Reporters rushing out to file stories. Lawyers gathering papers. The gallery emptying in waves of shock and relief. Marcus sat frozen in his seat, Julia's hand still gripping his. "It's over," Julia whispered. "It's really over." "Is it?" Marcus couldn't stop hearing Veronica's words. "I planted seeds, scars you'll never get back. Don't let her win." Julia's voice was fierce. "That's what she wants. She wants those words to live in your head forever. Don't give her that power. She hurt my children. She might have damaged them permanently. Children are resilient. You're resilient. You'll get through this together. You'll heal together. And those children will grow up knowing that their father fought for them. That's what they'll remember, not her words, your actions." Regina appeared at their side. "Congratulations, Marcus. It's done. She's gone." She said some things about the children, about lasting damage. She was trying to hurt you one last time. That's all she has left, words. Don't give them power. Marcus nodded slowly, tried to believe her. They left through the back entrance again, but this time Marcus stopped, turned to face the cameras. "Mr. Thompson, do you have a statement?" Regina tried to pull him away. He shook his head. "My name is Marcus Thompson. Today my children's abuser was sentenced to life in prison. She tried to destroy our family. She failed. We are still standing. We are still together. And we are going to be okay." "What about her final statement? Her claims that she damaged your children permanently?" "My children are the strongest, bravest people I know. My daughter survived 2 years of abuse and documented every moment to ensure justice would be served. My son is healthy and happy and doesn't remember any of what happened to him." Veronica Cole wanted to destroy them. Instead, she made them warriors. "Will you be pursuing civil action?" "I will be donating everything I recover to organizations that help children who have suffered abuse. My children don't need Veronica's money. What they need is a father who shows up every day. And that's exactly what they have." He turned and walked to the car. Didn't look back. The drive to Savannah was quiet. Marcus stared out the window, processing everything that had happened. Veronica's face when she admitted guilt. Her final words. The sound of the gavel. It was over. But somehow it didn't feel over. It felt like the end of one chapter and the beginning of something else. Something that would take years to fully understand. They arrived at Julia's house just before sunset. The church mothers were waiting on the porch. Maya and Isaiah were in the yard with Miss Ernestine. The moment Marcus got out of the car, Maya came running. "Is it done? Is she in prison forever?" Marcus knelt down and caught his daughter in his arms. "It's done, baby. She's in prison forever. She can never hurt you again." "Did you tell her what I said?" "I told her. I told everyone. I told them that you're the strongest, bravest person I know, that you beat her, that you're going to have a beautiful life." Maya pulled back, looked at him with those serious eyes. "What did she say?" Marcus hesitated. He didn't want to burden Maya with Veronica's final poison, but his daughter had earned the truth, had always deserved the truth. "She said she wasn't sorry. She said she planted seeds that would hurt you forever." Maya's face didn't change. No fear, no tears. "She's wrong. Baby. She thinks she broke me. She didn't. She made me stronger. She made me braver. Every time she hurt me, I got better at surviving. Every time she threatened me, I got better at not being scared. Maya's chin lifted. I'm not going to let her win Daddy. I'm going to grow up and be happy and have a beautiful life, not to spite her, because that's what I deserve, because Mommy would want me to, because I want to. Marcus felt tears sliding down his cheeks. His brave, beautiful daughter who had survived hell and come out the other side, not broken, but forged, stronger than steel. I love you so much, Maya. I love you too, Daddy. She hugged him tight. Can we have ice cream for dinner? Miss Ernestine said. If it was a special occasion, we could. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. For the first time in 6 months, the sound felt natural. Yes, baby. We can have ice cream for dinner. That night they sat on Julia's porch as a family. Marcus, Julia, Maya, Isaiah, and the church mothers who had become grandmothers to these children. They ate ice cream and watched the fireflies dance in the yard and talked about nothing important. Just a family, together, safe. Daddy, Isaiah tugged on Marcus's sleeve. 2.5 years old now, growing every day. Yes, buddy. I love you. 3 simple words, but they meant everything. I love you too, Isaiah. More than anything in the world. Later, after the children were in bed and the church mothers had gone home, Marcus sat with Julia on the porch. The same porch where they'd had so many conversations over the past 6 months. The same rockers where their mother used to sit. What happens now? Julia asked. We heal. We build a new life. I sell the company, start something smaller. Something that lets me be there for my kids. And the house in Atlanta. I'm selling it. We're never going back there. Too many memories, too much pain. Marcus looked out at the quiet street. I was thinking we might stay in Savannah, close to you, close to the church mothers. Maya loves her school here. Isaiah loves the yard. There's always room for you here. You know that. I know. But I think we need our own place. Our own fresh start. Maybe something nearby. Walking distance. Julia smiled. I'd like that. Me too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars emerge in the darkening sky. Marcus. Yeah. I'm proud of you. What you said in that courtroom today. How you've handled all of this. Mama would be proud too. I had a lot of help. You, the church mothers, Regina, Detective Washington. I couldn't have done it alone. Nobody does anything alone. That's what family is for. Julia stood up, stretched. I'm going to bed. Big day tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Saturday. Maya's got a soccer game, Isaiah's got a play date, and you promised Miss Ernestine you'd help her fix her fence. I did? You did. She's been telling everyone at church about how her handsome nephew is going to help her. Can't back out now, Marcus groaned. But he was smiling. Fine. What time? 8 o'clock. Sharp. Miss Ernestine doesn't tolerate tardiness. After Julia went inside, Marcus stayed on the porch a while longer, thinking about Rachel, about what she would say if she could see them now. She'd be proud of Maya. He knew that. She'd love the person their daughter was becoming. She'd be amazed by Isaiah's laugh, his curiosity, the way he ran everywhere instead of walking. And she'd be proud of Marcus too, for finally seeing the truth. For fighting for their children. For not giving up. I'm trying, Rachel, he whispered into the darkness. I'm trying to be the father they deserve. I know I messed up. I know I failed them. But I'm trying. A firefly blinked nearby. Then another. Then dozens lighting up the yard like tiny stars. Marcus smiled. Maybe that was Rachel's answer. Maybe she was saying she understood. She forgave him. She believed in him. Or maybe it was just fireflies. Either way, Marcus felt something settle in his chest. Not peace exactly, not yet, but the beginning of it. The first step on a long road toward healing. He stood up, went inside, climbed the stairs to check on his children. Maya was asleep, her arm thrown over Isaiah just like always, still protecting him, still watching over him. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching them breathe. His children, his miracles, his reasons for everything. "I promise," he whispered. "I promise I'll never let anyone hurt you again. I promise I'll be there every day. I promise I'll do better. Be better. I promise." Maya stirred. Her eyes opened. "Daddy." "Go back to sleep, baby. I'm just checking on you." "I'm not scared anymore, Daddy." "What?" "I'm not scared anymore. For the first time since Mommy died, I'm not scared." Maya smiled sleepily. "I think we're going to be okay." Marcus crossed the room, knelt beside the bed, kissed her forehead. "We are, baby. We're going to be okay. I promise." "I believe you, Daddy." She closed her eyes, drifted back to sleep. Marcus stayed there for a long time, watching his children dream peaceful dreams for the first time in 2 years. Veronica was gone. The nightmare was over, and tomorrow they would start building their new life. Together. 7 years. 2,555 days since Veronica Cole Thompson was led out of that courtroom in chains. 2,555 days of healing, growing, rebuilding. 2,555 days of learning how to be a family again. Maya Thompson was 16 now. Tall. Confident. Her smile came easily, genuinely, without the shadows that had haunted her childhood. The nightmares still visited occasionally, but they were whispers now instead of screams. Echoes of a past that grew fainter with each passing year. Isaiah was 9. Bright-eyed and energetic, with no conscious memory of Veronica or the darkness of his first years. He knew the story pieces of it, age-appropriate versions that Marcus and Maya had shared over time. But for Isaiah, it was history. Something that happened to someone else. A before that had nothing to do with his now. Marcus Thompson was 49, gray at the temples, lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. But there was peace in his face now. The haunted guilt that had consumed him for so long had transformed into something else. Purpose. Dedication. The quiet strength of a man who had failed his children once and vowed to never fail them again. They lived in Savannah now, a house 3 blocks from Julia's, close enough to walk for Sunday dinner, close enough for the church mothers to drop by unannounced with casseroles and unsolicited advice, close enough to feel like family was always within reach. The morning of Maya's 16th birthday started like any other Saturday. Isaiah burst into her room at 7 o'clock, bouncing on her bed. Wake up, it's your birthday." "Daddy made pancakes." Maya groaned and pulled her pillow over her head. "Isaiah, it's too early." "It's never too early for birthday pancakes. Come on." She let herself be dragged downstairs where Marcus was waiting with a stack of chocolate chip pancakes shaped like the number 16. A tradition he'd started after they moved to Savannah. Birthday pancakes shaped like whatever age you were turning. "Happy birthday, baby girl." "Thanks, Daddy." Maya hugged him, breathing in the familiar smell of his cologne and the kitchen. Home. Safety. Love. "I can't believe you're 16. Marcus shook his head. "Seems like yesterday you were 9 years old keeping a diary to save your brother's life." That was a different Maya. "No." Marcus looked at her seriously. "That was the same Maya, the brave one, the strong one. You've always been extraordinary. You just have more room to show it now." They ate breakfast together as a family. Julia came over with her famous peach cobbler. The church mothers filtered in throughout the morning, each one bringing food and hugs and stories about how tall Maya had gotten, how proud they were, how much she looked like her mother. "Child, you are the spitting image of Rachel." Miss Ernestine cupped Maya's face in her weathered hands. "Same eyes, same spirit. Your mama is smiling down on you today." "Thank you, Miss Ernestine." "You know what she'd say if she were here?" "What?" "She'd say, 'That's my baby. That's my warrior. Because that's what you are, Maya. A warrior who survived the fire and came out gold. The birthday party was that afternoon. Friends from school, neighbors, family. The backyard filled with laughter and music and the simple joy of celebration. But Maya slipped away halfway through, found a quiet spot on the front porch, needed a moment to breathe. Marcus found her there 20 minutes later. "You okay, baby?" "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" "About how different things are. 7 years ago, I couldn't imagine this. Couldn't imagine being happy. Couldn't imagine having friends or parties or a normal life. I thought the darkness was all there was. And now..." Maya looked at her father, this man who had failed her once and spent every day since making up for it. This man who had sold his company, started a foundation for abuse survivors, dedicated his life to being present for his children. Now I know the darkness was just one chapter, a terrible chapter, but not the whole book. Marcus sat down beside her. "You know what today is, besides your birthday?" "What?" 7 years to the day since Veronica's sentencing. Maya was quiet, processing. "I didn't realize." "I did. I think about it every year. The day our new life started. The day we got free." Marcus took her hand. "Maya, I need to tell you something. I got a call yesterday from Detective Washington." Maya's body tensed. "What kind of call?" "Veronica filed for a parole hearing. First time she's been eligible." The world tilted. Maya felt the old fear trying to claw its way back, the darkness she'd thought was gone lurking at the edges. "She can't get out. You said she'd never get out." "She won't. The DA is opposing her release. So is the parole board. Detective Washington says there's 0 chance she gets approved, but legally, she has the right to request a hearing." "When?" "Next month." Maya's hands were shaking. She clenched them into fists, forcing herself to stay calm. "Do I have to go?" "No, absolutely not. You never have to see her again." "But..." Marcus hesitated. "But the parole board asked if any of the victims wanted to make a statement, in person or in writing, about why she should remain incarcerated. They want me to testify against her. They're giving you the option, not asking you to. There's a difference." Maya stood up, walked to the edge of the porch, stared out at the street where she'd learned to ride a bike again after moving here, where she'd slowly remembered how to be a child. "I thought it was over. I thought I was done with her." "You are done with her. This doesn't change anything. She's not getting out. This is just a formality." "Then why does it feel like the ground is shifting under my feet?" Marcus stood up and put his hands on her shoulders, turned her to face him. "Because trauma doesn't follow a timeline. Because healing isn't linear. Because sometimes the past reaches out and tries to grab you even when you've moved on." He looked into her eyes. "But Maya, you're not 9 years old anymore. You're not a scared little girl hiding in her room. You're a 16-year-old warrior who has survived things most people can't imagine. If you want to make a statement, you can. If you want to ignore this completely, you can. The choice is yours." "What would you do?" "I would face her one more time. I would look her in the eyes and show her that she didn't win. That she never won. That all her cruelty and manipulation and evil couldn't destroy what we have." Marcus paused. "But that's me. You have to decide what's right for you." Maya was quiet for a long time. The sounds of her birthday party drifted from the backyard. Laughter, music, the voices of people who loved her. "I want to do it." "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because if I don't, I'll always wonder. I'll always feel like she still has some power over me." Maya lifted her chin. "I survived her once. I can face her again." Marcus pulled her into a hug, held her tight. "That's my warrior." The next month passed quickly. Too quickly. Maya worked with Regina Chen on her statement. Wrote and rewrote it a dozen times. Practiced delivering it until the words felt natural. Isaiah noticed the change in his sister. The tension. The late nights. "Maya, what's wrong?" They were sitting on the back porch. Isaiah had brought her a glass of sweet tea without being asked. 9 years old, but already learning to take care of the people he loved. "Nothing's wrong, buddy. You're lying. You always bite your lip when you're lying." Maya smiled despite herself. "When did you get so observant? Auntie Julia says I got Daddy's business brain and your emotional intelligence." Isaiah sat down beside her. "Is it about the bad woman?" Maya tensed. "What do you know about that?" "I know she hurt you when I was a baby. I know she's in prison. I know she tried to hurt me too, but you protected me." Isaiah's face was serious, old beyond his years in that moment. "And I know she's asking to get out." "Who told you that?" "I heard Daddy talking to Auntie Julia. They didn't know I was listening." "You shouldn't eavesdrop." "I know. But I was worried about you. You've been sad lately, and I wanted to know why." Maya sighed, put her arm around her little brother. "Yes, it's about her. She's asking for parole. I'm going to speak at her hearing." "Are you scared?" "A little." "Why?" "She can't hurt you anymore. She's behind bars." "I know, but sometimes the scary thing isn't what someone can do to you physically. Sometimes it's what they did to you inside. The parts of you they damaged that you're still trying to repair." Isaiah thought about this. His face scrunched up the way it always did when he was processing something complicated. "Maya, can I tell you something?" "Always." "I don't remember her. I don't remember anything from when I was a baby. But sometimes I have these dreams, bad dreams where someone's hurting me and I can't get away. And when I wake up, I'm scared, but I don't know why." Maya's heart clenched. The pieces of trauma that lived in Isaiah's body, even if his mind didn't remember. The legacy of Veronica that no prison sentence could erase. "I have those dreams too sometimes." "What do you do when you have them?" "I remind myself where I am. I remind myself that I'm safe, that Daddy's down the hall, that you're in the room next to mine, that the bad times are over." "Does it help?" "Sometimes, not always, but eventually the sun comes up, and I remember that nightmares end. They always end." Isaiah leaned against her, his small body warm and trusting. "I'm glad you protected me. I'm glad you're my sister. I'm glad you're my brother buddy." "Maya." "Yeah. Will you tell her something for me? At the hearing? What do you want me to tell her?" "Tell her she didn't win. Tell her I'm happy. Tell her I have the best sister in the world, and the best daddy, and the best life. And she can't ever take that away from me." Isaiah looked up at her with fierce eyes. "Tell her I'm not scared of her." Maya pulled him close. This brave little boy who'd survived horrors he didn't remember but carried anyway. "I'll tell her, buddy. I promise." The day of the parole hearing arrived on a gray Tuesday morning. Marcus drove Maya to the detention facility where Veronica was being held. Julia stayed home with Isaiah, surrounded by church mothers ready to provide whatever support was needed. The drive was quiet. Maya clutched her statement in her lap papers, worn soft from handling. "You don't have to do this," Marcus said for the 100th time. "I know. I want to. If it gets too hard, if you need to stop, just look at me. I'll get you out of there." "I know, Daddy." They arrived at the facility. Security checks, metal detectors, long hallways that smelled like industrial cleaner and despair. Finally, a hearing room with a panel of 5 parole board members and a table where the victim statements would be given. Veronica was already there. Maya hadn't seen her in 7 years. The change was shocking. The beautiful woman from her nightmares had been replaced by someone old and gray and diminished. Prison had hollowed her out, taken whatever light had once existed in her eyes, and replaced it with nothing. But when Veronica saw Maya, something flickered. Recognition. And underneath it, that cold calculation that had never gone away. Maya. Veronica's voice was rough from disuse. You've grown up. Maya didn't respond. Took her seat at the victim statement table. Her father beside her. Regina Chen on her other side. The hearing began. Veronica's lawyer made his case for release. Good behavior. Reformed character. Time served. He painted a picture of a woman who had paid her debt to society and deserved a second chance. Then it was Maya's turn. She stood up. Her legs were steady. Her hands were not. But she'd learned long ago that courage wasn't the absence of fear. It was acting despite it. My name is Maya Thompson. When I was 8 years old, Veronica Cole became my stepmother. For 2 years, she abused me. She burned me with cigarettes. She locked me in my room without food. She threatened to kill my baby brother if I ever told anyone what was happening. Maya's voice grew stronger with each word. She told me my mother died because she didn't want to be around me. She said no one would ever believe a word I said. She tried to break me piece by piece until there was nothing left. But she failed. Maya looked directly at Veronica, met those dead eyes without flinching. I kept a diary. Every night after she thought I was asleep, I documented what she did to me. I knew someday someone would need to know the truth. I was 9 years old, and I was building the case that would put her in prison. That diary is why she's here today. That diary is proof that no matter how powerful your abuser is, no matter how good they are at lying, the truth wins. Eventually, the truth always wins. Veronica Cole told me I would be damaged forever, that the scars she left would never heal, that I would spend my whole life broken because of what she did to me. Maya paused. Let the silence stretch. She was wrong. I am not broken. I am strong. I am happy. I have friends and family who love me. I'm 16 years old, and I have my whole life ahead of me. A life that she tried to steal but couldn't. My brother Isaiah is 9 now. He doesn't remember Veronica. He only knows that his sister protected him when he was too small to protect himself. He asked me to tell you something today. Maya turned to face Veronica fully. He wanted me to tell you that you didn't win, that he's happy, that he has the best life, and that he's not scared of you. I'm not scared of you either, not anymore. For years I was afraid of shadows, afraid of locked doors, afraid of women with beautiful faces and cold eyes. But I'm not afraid anymore. Because you're just a person. A broken, empty person who hurt children to feel powerful. And now you're old and gray and alone in a prison cell and all your power is gone. You asked for parole. You asked for a second chance. But what about my second chance? What about my brother's second chance? What about all the years you stole from us? All the childhoods you destroyed? All the trauma you planted that we're still digging out? You don't deserve a second chance. You don't deserve freedom. You deserve to spend every remaining day of your life in that cell, knowing that the children you tried to destroy are out there living beautiful lives without you. That's my statement. I oppose parole with every fiber of my being, and I hope this board sees what I see. A predator who feels no remorse. A monster who would hurt again if given the chance. A woman who should never ever be allowed to walk free. Maya sat down. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. But she'd done it. She'd faced her monster and spoken her truth. The room was silent. The parole board members were writing notes. Veronica's face was unreadable. Then Veronica spoke. May I respond? The board chairman nodded. Veronica stood. Her chains clinked against the table. That was a beautiful speech, Maya, very powerful. I can see you've grown into quite the young woman. Her voice was calm, almost pleasant. But you left out some important details. Like the fact that your father was never home. Like the fact that your mother chose to die rather than stay with her family. Like the fact that I was the only one actually raising you while Marcus traveled the world building his empire. I disciplined you, yes, because discipline is how children learn. But the things you described in that diary, those were exaggerations, fantasies, a troubled child crying out for attention from a father who was never there. Maya felt rage rising in her chest, the old familiar anger, But she forced herself to stay seated, to stay calm. "I am not a monster," Veronica continued. "I am a woman who made mistakes, who loved a man who didn't love her back, who tried to make a family with children who were determined to reject me from the start. Is it fair that I spend the rest of my life in prison because a 9-year-old wrote fiction in her diary? Is it fair that I'm painted as a villain when all I ever wanted was to be loved?" The board chairman interrupted. "Mrs. Cole, you pled guilty to these charges. You admitted in open court that you committed these acts. I was coerced. My lawyer told me a trial would be worse, that the evidence fabricated as it was would convict me anyway. I pled guilty to survive, not because I was actually guilty." "That's a lie." Maya was on her feet before she knew it. "That's a lie, and you know it. You kept a journal. We found it. Your own words describing your contempt for us, your plans to kill us, your calculations for how much sedative to put in our food. That journal was fabricated by your father. There's video footage, you threatening me in my own bedroom, telling me you would kill Isaiah and make it look like an accident. Deep fakes, manufactured evidence. You tried to have us kidnapped. Your accomplice confessed. Dwayne was a pathetic man who would say anything to reduce his sentence." Marcus stood up, put his hand on Maya's arm. "Don't engage. This is what she wants, to rattle you, to make you look emotional and unstable." Maya took a breath, forced herself to sit down. The board chairman cleared his throat. "Mrs. Cole, the evidence in your case was extensive and verified by multiple independent sources. Your claims of fabrication are not supported by any credible evidence. This board will make its decision based on the facts, not on unsubstantiated allegations of conspiracy." Veronica's composure cracked, just for a moment. That flash of rage that Maya remembered from her childhood. "This is a farce. You've already decided. You're not even listening to me." "We've listened, Mrs. Cole, and we've heard enough." The board deliberated for less than an hour. When they returned, the chairman's face was stone. "This board has unanimously decided to deny parole for Veronica Cole Thompson. The severity of her crimes, her lack of remorse as demonstrated in today's hearing, and the testimony of her victims all indicate that she remains a danger to society. She will not be eligible for another hearing for 5 years. Veronica's face went white, then red, then twisted with fury. "You can't do this. I have rights. I deserve to be free." "Remove her," the chairman said. Guards moved forward. Veronica fought them, screaming, clawing. The mask completely gone now, revealing the monster underneath. "This isn't over, Maya. Do you hear me? I'll get out eventually. I'll find you. I'll finish what I started." They dragged her out. Her screams echoed down the hallway, then faded, then silence. Maya sat frozen, shaking, the adrenaline draining out of her, leaving her hollow and exhausted. Marcus pulled her into his arms. "You did it, baby. You faced her. You won. She's still out there, still threatening us. From a prison cell, with 5 more years before she can even ask for parole again. And she'll be denied then too. And the time after that. She's never getting out, Maya. Never." Regina Chen approached. Her face was soft with admiration. "That was the most powerful victim statement I've ever witnessed. You should be incredibly proud of yourself." "I don't feel proud. I feel tired." "That's normal. What you just did took enormous courage. Let yourself rest." They left the facility, stepped out into gray daylight, and Maya breathed fresh air for the first time in what felt like hours. "Daddy?" "Yes, baby. I want to go home. I want to see Isaiah. I want to hug Auntie Julia and eat Miss Ernestine's cooking and just be normal for a while." "Then that's exactly what we'll do." They drove back to Savannah, the miles passing in comfortable silence. Maya fell asleep somewhere around the halfway point, exhausted beyond words. She dreamed of her mother, Rachel, young and healthy, sitting beside her in a field of wildflowers. "You were so brave today, baby girl." "I was scared, Mommy." That's what makes it brave. Being scared and doing it anyway. Rachel smiled. That warm, wonderful smile Maya had almost forgotten. I'm so proud of you, Maya. So proud of who you've become. I miss you. I know, I miss you too. But I'm always with you. In your heart, in your strength, in the way you protect your brother, in the way you refuse to let the darkness win. Will the nightmares ever stop? Eventually, not all at once, but little by little the light will push them out, and one day you'll realize you haven't thought about her in months, years. She'll become a ghost, a shadow, and you'll be standing in the sunshine living your beautiful life. Promise. Promise, baby. Now wake up. Your family is waiting. Maya woke as they pulled into the driveway. Isaiah was running toward the car before it even stopped. Julia right behind him. The church mothers on the porch ready with food and hugs and prayers. Maya. What happened? Did they keep her in jail? Are we safe? Maya climbed out of the car and gathered her brother in her arms. We're safe, buddy. She's staying in prison, probably forever. Did you tell her what I said? Every word. What did she say? It doesn't matter what she said. What matters is that you're happy, that you're safe, that she has no power over us anymore. Isaiah hugged her tight. This brave little boy who'd survived things he didn't remember, who loved his sister with a fierce, uncomplicated devotion. I love you, Maya. I love you too, buddy. More than anything. The evening passed in a blur of food and family. The church mothers had prepared enough food to feed an army. Julia had decorated with balloons left over from Maya's birthday party. The house was full of love and laughter and the simple joy of being together. Later, after Isaiah was in bed and the church mothers had gone home, Maya sat on the porch with her father and aunt. The same porch where so many important conversations had happened over the years. The same rockers where healing had begun. I spoke to Dr. Williams today, Marcus said quietly. Dr. Williams was Maya's therapist, had been for 7 years. She said what you did was a major breakthrough, facing your abuser, speaking your truth, refusing to let her intimidate you. It didn't feel like a breakthrough. It felt terrifying. That's how breakthroughs work. They don't feel triumphant in the moment. They feel hard and scary and impossible. But afterward, you realize you've changed. You've grown. You've become someone stronger than you were before. I just wanted her to know she didn't win. And now she does. She knows it in her bones. That's why she lost control at the end. Because she finally understood that all her power, all her manipulation, all her evil couldn't destroy you. Julia leaned over and took Maya's hand. Your mama would be so proud of you today. So proud. I dreamed about her. On the drive home. She said she was proud. She said the nightmares would stop eventually. They will. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not next month. But they will. Julia squeezed her hand. You know what I see when I look at you, Maya. What? I see a survivor who became a warrior, a victim who became an advocate, a scared little girl who grew into a brave young woman. You're going to do amazing things with your life. Help other children who are going through what you went through. Show them that survival is possible, that healing is possible, that there's light on the other side of the darkness. How do you know? Because I know you. Because I've watched you grow up. Because I've seen the fire in your eyes, and the strength in your spine, and the love in your heart. Julia smiled. You're extraordinary, Maya Thompson. You always have been. Now the rest of the world is going to find out. The next morning, Maya woke to sunlight streaming through her window. For the first time in weeks, she'd slept without nightmares, without fear, without Veronica's voice echoing in her head. She lay there for a moment just breathing, feeling the peace of it, the simple miracle of a night without terror. Then she got up, got dressed, went downstairs to where her family was waiting. Isaiah was already at the table shoveling pancakes into his mouth. Marcus was at the stove flipping bacon. Julia was reading the paper coffee cup in hand. Normal, ordinary, beautiful. Morning, baby? Marcus smiled at her. How'd you sleep? Good. Really good. No nightmares? None. Marcus's face softened with relief. That's wonderful, baby. Maya sat down at the table, poured herself a glass of orange juice, looked around at her family. This man who had failed her once and spent every day since making up for it. This boy who loved her unconditionally. This aunt who had opened her home and her heart when they needed it most. I've been thinking, Maya said. About what? About what I want to do with my life, what I want to be when I grow up. You're 16, you don't have to decide right now. I know, but I think I know anyway. Maya set down her juice. I want to help kids like me. Kids who are being abused. Kids who think no one will believe them. Kids who are scared and alone and don't know how to escape. Marcus stopped cooking, turned to look at her. I want to be their voice. I want to tell my story so they know they're not alone. I want to show them that survival is possible, that healing is possible, that there's life after the darkness. Maya, I know it'll be hard. I know I'll have to relive my trauma over and over, but maybe that's the point. Maybe the pain I went through can mean something if I use it to help others. Julia folded her newspaper. Her eyes were bright with tears. Your mama said something to me once years ago, before she got sick. She said, Julia, the measure of a life isn't in how much you avoid suffering. It's in what you do with the suffering you can't avoid. I think she was talking about you, Maya. Even then. Marcus crossed to his daughter, knelt beside her chair. If that's what you want to do, I will support you with everything I have. My money, my connections, my time. Whatever you need to make this happen. Really? Really. You've already survived the worst thing a child can survive. If you want to use that survival to help others, I couldn't be more proud. Isaiah had stopped eating, was watching with wide eyes. Maya's going to be a superhero. Marcus laughed. Something like that, buddy. Cool. Can I help? Of course you can help. Awesome. Isaiah went back to his pancakes, the matter settled in his mind. Maya looked around the table one more time. Her father, her brother, her aunt, the family she had fought to protect, the family that had survived against all odds. We made it, she said quietly. We really made it. We did, baby. Marcus took her hand. And this is just the beginning. 2 years later, Maya stood in front of an auditorium full of high school students. 1,700 faces looking up at her, waiting to hear her story. She was 18 now, a freshman at Spelman College. The Maya Thompson Foundation had helped over 200 children escape abusive situations in its first year of operation. Her memoir, written with her father's help, had become a bestseller. Her face had been on magazine covers. Her story had been featured in documentaries. But standing here about to speak to teenagers who might be living through their own nightmares, this was what mattered most. My name is Maya Thompson. When I was 8 years old, I started living a nightmare. She told her story. All of it. The abuse, the threats, the diary, the rescue, the healing. 1,700 students sat in absolute silence, some crying, some gripping their seats with white knuckles, some with the hollow-eyed look of children who were living through their own versions of her story right now. If you're being hurt, Maya said, her voice filling the auditorium, tell someone. Keep telling until someone listens. Write it down. Take pictures if you can. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Because you deserve to be safe. You deserve to be believed. You deserve to live a beautiful life. And there are people who will fight for you. I know, because I found those people. My father finally saw the truth and fought for me. The police believed me. The court protected me. And now I'm standing here 18 years old, living my dream while my abuser rots in prison where she belongs. You can survive this. I promise you. You can survive and heal and grow and become someone amazing. The darkness doesn't last forever. Eventually the sun comes up, and when it does, you'll be standing in the light. After the speech, Maya was surrounded by students, some wanting autographs, some just wanting to say thank you, some pressing notes into her hands with phone numbers and pleas for help. One girl hung back, waiting until the crowd thinned. She couldn't have been more than 14. Thin, pale, long sleeves despite the warm day. Maya recognized her instantly, recognized the look in her eyes. "Can I help you?" The girl's voice was barely a whisper. "Is it really true? What you said, that people will believe me?" "Yes, I promise. Even if it's my mom, even if everyone thinks she's perfect, even if I don't have proof." Maya took the girl's hands, looked into her eyes. "What's your name?" "Destiny." "Destiny. I believe you, right now, without proof, without question. I believe you." The girl's face crumpled, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'll help you," Maya said. "My foundation will help you. You're not alone anymore. You never have to be alone again." She held Destiny while she cried. This girl who could have been Maya 9 years ago. This child who was living through her own nightmare and had just found her first ray of hope. This was why she'd survived. This was the purpose behind all the pain. To be the voice that scared children needed. To be the proof that survival was possible. To be the light in someone else's darkness. That night, Maya called her father. "I met a girl today, Destiny. She's 14. Her mother is hurting her. I'm going to help her." "I know you will, baby. I'm so proud of you." "Daddy." "Yes. Thank you for seeing the truth, for believing me, for fighting for us. Thank you for being my hero." "You're my hero, Maya. You always have been." After she hung up, Maya stood by her dorm room window looking out at the lights of Atlanta, thinking about how far she'd come, how far they'd all come. Veronica Cole was still in prison. Would be there for the rest of her life. The monster had been defeated. The nightmare was over. And Maya Thompson was just getting started. She thought about her mother, about Julia, about Isaiah, now 11 years old and thriving, about Marcus, who had dedicated his life to making amends, about Miss Ernestine, and the church mothers who had wrapped them in love when they needed it most. She thought about Destiny, about all the children out there still waiting to be saved, and she made a promise, to herself, to her mother's memory, to every scared child who was hiding in their room, writing in a diary, praying for someone to believe them. "I will be your voice. I will be your proof. I will be your hope." Because evil doesn't win when good people refuse to look away. Because the truth always wins in the end. Because every child deserves to be safe, to be loved, to be protected. Because darkness is temporary, but hope is forever. And Maya Thompson was living proof. What moved you most in this story? Where are you watching from? Please leave a comment and let us know. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please speak up. Tell someone who can help. Because every child deserves to be safe, to be loved, to be protected. No child should suffer in silence. Remember that good can triumph over evil, that justice can prevail, that broken families can heal with time and love and dedication. Evil doesn't win when good people refuse to look away.